Alrighty.
There we go. We are live.
All right.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday.
Sunday,
And
Sunday, Sunday.
yeah, we are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Um, we haven't done a show in quite a while. We've been busy, and of course my sleep schedule is really out of whack. We were gonna go live this past Sunday, but eh, my body was like, no, you're gonna rest and everything. Lots of fun discussions we're gonna have tonight. Lots of fun discussions we're gonna have tonight. From movie. Let's see the on tonight's agenda. It's video rental memories edition. It'll be like what are fit like from Blockbuster to Hollywood Video to Suncoast to Family Video. For those of you who live in Michigan, know what that one is. And then we're going to be talking about the goriest movie and anime we ever watched. Even Star Trek is involved in this. So
Hello. Now we got
Star Trek does count.
I'll have something to contribute. Okay.
Yes, Star Trek. Because the Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan actually did scare me as a kid, Captain. It did scare me. Just that bug scene, just that bug when they dropped the little fucking.
I was 18, so I really can't say.
Yeah, because every time I saw an earwig, I thought the Wrath of Khan as a kid. I'm like, motherfucker.
I'm gonna move this to the other screen here because I'm not looking out to the side all the time. There we go.
Ain't that the beauty of having dual screens?
It has definitely been, it took a while to get used to, but okay, sorry. Oh, right. Actually, I do most stuff on this other screen though, because it's closer.
Exactly, and the cool thing is I can actually have I got my Streamlabs OBS on this screen and the game on the other. My attention's on both, so that way I'm not constantly staring at one screen.
And now if I can just get a proper editing situation.
I might need to hire a fucking editor one
all right,
of these days. See. If anybody's interested, let me know.
Make sure I got the right microphone going here.
I can hear you just fine.
All right, yeah. So not echoing at all, just testing one.
No,
okay.
Nope, no, you're good. You're good.
Because then it's been defaulting to the stupid webcam, and it's way the hell over on the screen.
Also, the other topic is games we weren't supposed to play, and then we got box art lies. Now, what that is, ladies and gentlemen, I'll explain it. Have you ever had if you ever been to the video store or a thrift store or in general, and you see a name of a title of a movie or a game, and it has this cool box art? It's like, this game's gonna be cool. And then you go and buy it or rent it, and it turns out to be a piece of shit, and you just wasted $10 to $40 on.
Well, I'm thinking maybe let me just go see if I can call someone through, because I remember, what comes to mind is the original box art for Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh God,
they got this kind of big buff, Boris Vallejo type thing, and
it's a piece of shit.
Well, it was fairly state of the art for the time. Because we're talking early 90s. Yeah, here we go.
And then the final discussion we're gonna have.
Yeah. Here we
go. Is weirdest rental ever, like the weirdest movie you have ever rented, and it's like, why the hell did I rent that movie? The fuck is wrong with you? Let's see. What do we got? Yeah. Oh, yeah. This. Oh, wait. I remember this. I played this on the.
Right over here.
I think.
That's the art on the box. There's also another one. It's like something like this one over here. That's the game. Look, there's Blakowski. They're drop kicking these guys left and right. And that's what the game is actually like.
Oh, that is deceiving. Because I have expected I have expected Wolfenstein the New Blood or Colossus or
again, that's your opening screen. But again, this is all again at the time. It's like 3D was still very new. Like this was just one step up from just a maze game at this point. So, like, what year was? Yeah, 1992. This is over 30 years ago. It's like it was enough just the fact that actually going through a 3D maze type of thing and shooting people. So it was a trade-off. This is what you can do and still not melt your computer. No, compared to like, let's see, let's look at Castle Wolfenstein. Yeah, Return to well, yeah. Now this was just what year was this? Maybe 20 years ago. Let's see. Because I also remember, Wolfenstein 3D wasn't the first one. That was the third game in the series. Let's see. Let me give me a year here.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, this is Bob's pick right here of the box art lies.
Yeah, it's getting a little closer. When it got to Return to, hey, why don't we,
chat,
people like shooting Nazis, why not?
Yeah, chat. If you have a box art lie and everything posted in the chat, we're gonna read these. Mm-hmm. And by the way, engage in this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Engage. We would love to read the stories, like from video rentals and everything, the ones I mentioned, because these are going to be a lot of fun, and everybody's going to feel more involved.
Mm-hmm.
Did we win yet? Win what? What, a lifetime supply of
my wife's a running treat. That's how it's a treat. Sorry, running. And that's nice.
Did we win a trip to Tokyo, Japan? I wish I did. Damn! If I want a trip to Tokyo, Japan, I would fucking jump on that shit and be like, "See you guys later," and be gone for about a week. But my broke ass can't afford that, unfortunately, until the economy gets better. Yeah. I'm waiting for the economy to get better and everything to start being affordable again before I do anything.
Give it a little bit. It's getting there.
I actually screamed at PlayStation for charging me over $80 on the PS Plus. So I'm like, fuck you people. I warned my roommate too. I'm like, roommate, you might want to check your PS Plus subscription before they hit you with the $80 tag. Because that's what they did.
Once upon a time, the PlayStation Network was free. Okay.
Yes, it was free. On the PS3, it was optional. That's why everybody loved the PS3 at the time. It was we didn't have to. The only thing you had to worry about, ladies and gentlemen, was a damn internet connection. That was the only thing you had to worry about, was the damn internet. Did not have to worry about a PS Plus account. Didn't have to worry about that. All you needed was the game, the controller, and an internet router, and that was it.
Listen, back then,
your basic ass setup.
You could justify the high cost of the game because you're getting the whole thing in one package, and it better damn well work.
Yeah.
Now it's like you paying $60 for a game, and you're having to download stuff all over the place and buy stuff. No.
Probably. I know somebody who went to Japan. I could probably ask them. Yeah. Okinawa is pretty nice this time of year. And it's just been so unbelievably weird. This whole we're in the 6th month of the year, and everything is gone the way we predicted.
Yes, welcome to June.
Last year we predicted more layoffs, more of this and that, and look where we are at. I did have Subway. I was telling Bob earlier I had Subway. I had the honey mustard barbecue chicken sub. By the way, shout out to the people at Subway that I was just at. Really wonderful people. They were friendly as hell, which is scary in comparison to the other food places. You want a nice server. You want a nice person. Hey, what's up, Rix's Prime? We're slowly letting people come in and everything.
Yeah, we could segue for a while. You gotta have to because you're interacting directly with it. It's not like in McDonald's where it's like you can
I probably got probably 8 out of probably like 7 out of 10 of my predictions correct last year when I predicted what was to come this year, and I'm like and seeing everything that happened, and I'm like, I need to stop reading. I need to stop reading into shit. I need to stop paying attention because I am scaring myself when I'm, because the thing about me is I hate being right 90% of the time.
It's like, stop reading. Reading is evil. Believe the computer. The computer is your friend.
and I'm looking, and I'm just like, I hate being right. I want to be wrong for a change. That would be nice. I like to be wrong on a few things.
You ever play
but no, the powers that be and the universe says, no, you are going to continue to be right on this, and this, and you're going to like it. And it's like, well, what the fuck? Oh, you were born in James, you were born in Okinawa. Nice.
Did you ever play Paranoia?
I haven't actually. That's one game I never played.
I could try it one, but just sold on that. Talking about a scenario where, for those not in the know, this is a tabletop RPG game from back in the dark days of the 80s.
Exactly.
Basically, the scenario is a post-apocalyptic situation, and you're playing you're someone who's been cooped inside in a subterranean bunker, waiting for the radiation to die down, and everything is run by the computer. Problem: the computer has developed the fault and is now paranoid, and is trying to kill you. And all you know, though, is to trust the computer. Okay. So it's all thing, you can't trust anybody. You certainly can't trust the computer, and you're afraid to go outside because you don't know what the hell's out there now. If I can hold one thing, our group is starting to peek outside, and there's a squirrel, and he's got an acorn, and you got these heavily armed, paranoid people. What is that? He's got a grenade! And just open up. Full barrage on this poor squirrel just trying to eat an acorn.
James, you'd be surprised in our group of friends of how many military vets we have in our respective friend groups. It's actually amazing to me how many. I feel like I run into more. I feel like I run into more veterans than anything else throughout my life, and it's actually a blessing because I'm actually happy to meet these people, and I like hearing the stories and all that. My grandfather, he was I can't remember if he was in the Coast Guard or or in the Air Force or some shit. I gotta ask my aunt. What his service was, because I know it was in Vietnam at the time. I just can't remember if it was the United States Coast Guard or somewhere in there. But he was a lot of fun. My grandfather, cool, very nice dude. Despite what others have said and everything, and I'm well aware of everything.
I don't think the Coast Guard got sent. I'm sure some units got sent to Vietnam. The Navy is not great at coastal. They don't specialize in coastal defenses. The Coast Guard does. So,
exactly that.
And at that point in times of war, yes, the Coast Guard fell under the DoD. During peacetime, it was under the Department of Transportation. I think that changed after 9/11. Now it's permanently in the DoD.
Yep, and unfortunately, unless if we can get in there and get those people out and do something different for a change, The TSA baffles me sometimes.
I think that's an agency that's primed to be axed.
Exactly,
It's like,
because it's like it's like, are you really? Did they really hire you, or are you just doing this to get a free pass at
feeling up some poor tourist thing.
Yeah, that's what it boiled. That's what it boils down to. And this is not a knock on the legitimate ones that I face, because some of them are really nice and all that, and they're just doing their job. That I can understand. It's no knock against them. It's just the creepy looking motherfuckers you don't expect half the time.
And the thing
that
is
just
also
look at you.
by federalizing it, then everyone's got the same standards. And then the bad guys only have one set of standards to fight against. When it's back to just private, the airports run their own security. You don't know what they're going to do, what they're looking for, what you can get away with, and that actually helps, because if they don't know how they're going to sneak through this, and also you're freeing up to have to meet all these idiotic standards. No, you can't do that. That's discriminatory. Fuck you. Okay. That's why the Israelis are like, we're looking for weapons. We're looking for terrorists. You guys are looking for weapons. And everything done to nail clippers, plastic, picnic knives. Like, nobody loses, or the waitress, the stewardess loses a cuticle. It's like, what the hell?
Right.
How about just looking for, the rather disturbing looking person who's, speaking in Arabic, but has to, occasionally mention a U.S. landmark because it doesn't translate to, to Hasidi. That's how we caught a bunch. They were planning on blowing up the Brooklyn Bridge, but there was no Arabic term for Brooklyn Bridge. So while they're hearing all this Arabic jabber, but every once in a while the word Brooklyn Bridge goes, okay, something's up.
Right.
And that's how they caught the guys.
Exactly. That's how they caught them, because they were loudmouths, and they're just like, oh, we're gonna do this, that, and the other, and you can't stop us. And they said bet, and look what happened. Mm-hmm. They got their fucking asses kicked.
They're using our openness and tolerance against us. You get these idiots they're gonna start praying to Allah in the middle of the damn aisle of the airplane.
Oh God,
it's like, no, get your ass. You're disrupting the flight. You can pray when you get to your destination. Really dumbasses, like, there are how many, like 2,000 mosques in London. They choose in the middle of the damn road, or right next to Westminster Cathedral. Yeah, no, they're not trying to make a point. These are the guys you need to look out for. And so, the other thing, trying to be open and tolerant is not a suicide pact. Okay, there's got to be a point where you say enough. Okay, you're acting up here.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, mm-hmm. It's just a matter of what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then they look at you like you're the idiot, and it's like, oh, we're not gonna fucking listen to you.
Well, it's falling apart bit by bit. It's like that one boxer at the Olympics.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I remember that one. I looked at that video multiple times, like from different angles. That poor woman, she got clocked. She got clocked.
Oh yeah,
it's not the fun kind. It's not the fun kind either, ladies and gentlemen. No. It's not what we were used to when, a couple years back before this all happened. If you go back to the previous women's Olympic boxing, you can compare that video to this one. It's a stark comparison. Yeah. Well, because the older one, you barely you see the impact of the punch in the old one.
Yeah,
and there's nothing there, and nothing happens. The lady, they turn out fine.
Okay, the muscle density is different. The impact is is less. But the thing is, DNA test came back. Yeah, the guy's a male, to the shock of absolutely nobody.
Yeah, and you could make the same argument with people and bowling. Oh, we want the bumpers up for the whole family. No, fuck you. It's gonna be it's only for kids 11 and under. No ifs, ands, or buts. Unless, of course, if you're an elderly person or in a wheelchair, that's a different story.
But it's getting so idiotic. I could go, say, "Hi, I identify as a 5-year-old. I want to play in your T-ball team."
Oh, Jesus Christ! Don't give them ideas. They
like, no, they're like pitching. Just sit right there. Whack! It's getting to the next county. Okay, yeah. Even with my screwed up back, I can still whack it out.
Yeah, it just goes to show how fucking dumb things have gotten lately, and
everyone's getting sick of it now. They've reached the point. Okay,
I feel like instead of it being black fatigue, why don't we just call it the leftist fatigue? Just call it for what it really is. We don't need to add a label to. We don't need to add all the fucking social cards to it. Just call it the leftist. Not your normal leftists, not the ones that we know who do hold a conversation and can talk and can debate you logically. It's the
radical libtard is like, I just ordered a coffee. Where the society is at now at the point where it's like in trading places. Eddie Murphy, it's like, people that shut the music off, get the fuck out.
Exactly.
That's where they're at right now.
What's up, Big Angry Phil? Well, yes, you are correct, Rexus. You are correct. Nowadays it's like there's a 65-year-old looned up man who's like, I identify as a 10-year-old grade schooler. My guy, you're like 5 years away from hitting the tombstone. There ain't no fucking way. Get out of here. What's up, Batty?
Because you're about to get back in diapers doesn't make you know. You're about to file your Social Security. Fuck you. Go back to your seat and watch your grandkids play for a while, you moron.
Yeah, just sit in your red leather study chair in your study and watch the grandkids Google Gaga and all that fun stuff.
You want to play ball? Find a seniors game somewhere, okay? And I'm sure that could be something. The seniors
go shuffleboarding, because that I'm surprised that's still all the rage to this day. I'm amazed shuffleboarding. I mean, I would like to go shuffleboard at some point. That would be nice. Go up to if I live close to a country club, I would love to go up there and have a good time with the folk up there and just do everything. But unfortunately, they're gonna look at this like this 33-year-old person like, what the hell is this kid doing here? He's on the senior range. He's not in the 45 and above range with three golf trophies and a Masters trophy on his wall. This is a young blue chipper here. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you mean by I'm a blue chipper, motherfucker? I had a lot of practice. I could outpace you 18 holes and still be under par.
Yeah, because you're 30 years younger, you ain't got a bad back, you son bitch. Go sit down. The golf cart is not a limo, goddammit. I can't walk this fucking thing.
Yeah, back. Oh yeah, you're right, James. Back in 30.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
in the late 30s, they're like, okay, what are you going to put as collateral? Oh, we'll put Social Security. Yeah, go back to 1936. That's when it was implemented.
That's one of the things. It was nothing but a big Ponzi scheme. Yeah, if you get to 65, you can start collecting, and the average life expectancy is like 59. So if you make it to 65, you won't want one.
God. You know what? That actually sounds fun. Where is that at? Because you know what? I know a lot of good people who would love to partake. You actually, Rexus, I would happily bet on you. I would gladly place a $10 bet on you in that race.
I would bet they got riding mowers that are designed just specifically for racing. Scoop it up, take off the blades, and
yeah, easy $10 bet right there.
Pretend you're George.
That should be a sport right there.
Pretend you're George Jones and Tammy's hidden the keys. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Oh look at me, guys! Look what my wife got me for Christmas. It's a lawnmower. Yeah, so we're able to do the race now. What's that? Yours ain't better. Mine's better than yours, honey. Don't do the comparison. My lawnmower's better. It has way
Races
more.
on, and they're going right on the backstretch.
And yes, that is the Texas flag on the side of the side of everything, and it's really ridiculous.
That's a legendary story, though. George Jones, they hit his car because he was getting caught drunk driving at the time. So, okay, well, then he got in the riding motor and drove that to the bar or the liquor store. He still got arrested. Like that's, I need to check. Hold on, I got that thinking about it. Add to my growing list of karaoke tunes. Since fucking Anthony, never does an open mic night, I've got to try and get his bastard. Okay. Has it been a while, honey? Not that long. Hold on. Okay, I'm just wondering. The timer's going when it's ready. Here we go. The race is here. All right, and find a good version of Races On.
And it just goes to show the craziness and the ingenuity of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why the hedge funds and all those fucking people who just sit there and look at us and laugh at us and everything.
Well, that's why the GameStop thing was just so hilarious.
I know.
They tried to bury that. Nice. Oh, really? Who's gonna lose a shirt? You assholes. How do you like it for a change?
Actually, I knew somebody. I'm not naming names here, but one of my old coworkers did walk away from that with $800. And he's like, dude, that was the easiest $800 I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, you better prioritize that shit, man. You have one opportunity to make that work. Enjoy it. Invest in something that would bring you money and bring you happiness. That you know can work.
All right. Okay. All right. Pause that, and I'll go and put that in. Whoops, wrong one. Yes, you're doing them.
But it just goes to show that all these stupid little bastards, they just sit there and laugh at us, and then when the script gets flipped and everything, they're like, oh my god, what do we do now? Shut it down. Yeah, let's march over there to the common folk in our stupid turtleneck shirts and show how stupidly look. I swear, Bill Gates, every time he wears that fucking turtleneck shirt, I just want to throw a pie at it. I just want to drive in a limo, have roll the damn window down, and throw that pie at his shirt, and be like, you know what, Bill, you're 65 years old. Knock it off. Now look, I've seen some stylish turtlenecks, so I'm not going to complain. I'm not hating the style. It's just on certain people, it does not look good. It goes to show that they're going through a midlife crisis. They're going through a senior life crisis right now. That's what I'm calling it now. A senior life crisis.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what Bill Gates is going through. It's only elected people that everybody and myself can look and say, you are going through a senior crisis, good sir. But there are some people who actually can pull off the turtleneck.
There we go. That's what it is.
Pull it off.
Found one of the backing vocals. There we go. All right.
Actually, you could probably do solar powered ones if engineered correctly. You could
Well,
do
that
solar. You could do solar powered. That would be interesting.
I mean, except for the racing thing, it's like you're really not going to set any land speed records, so solar should work fine for lower.
Yeah, just have it out in the sun where it's like a nice. Make sure it's like window. Like have a nice window where it's like rainproof and everything. Make sure
just make it as the kind of the cover, you know.
And there you go. You have like the direct sunlight, and there you go. You have like
instead of getting a sunburn, you soak that and put that light to use.
And then they look at you, and they wonder how you do it, and it's like, well, you just go and do everything that you can.
Just be careful going under branches, but otherwise. I might have to. How many George Jones songs I got racked up here so far?
Oh my God, Bob! You have got to see this. Hold on.
Oh,
get some popcorn ready, because what the look at Maxine Waters. Holy, you cannot tell me these people aren't on something. I'm cannot tell me.
Like Sheila Jackson, I'm thinking some of these people get elected just so they don't come back. It's like no.
Look at that.
Keep them in Washington.
What the hell? She looks like she doesn't even want to be there. Holy crap!
It's like, why is she...
I wonder who told her. I wonder who told her to go out there and make that face.
That's her normal. That's her normal resting bitch face. That's her normal expression.
What the hell? Oh my God. You cannot make this shit up, people. You cannot. You cannot make this up. And
what is that ride up walking California raisin ever done for her district in LA? Okay, that's all I want to know.
She's just
seriously, why do they keep reelecting
Show Steph this. She would bust a gut. This is ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. And how are these two? Yep, keep number one.
What has Nancy Pelosi really done for San Francisco except build herself a fucking mansion?
No amount of Botox could ever cover up aging, honey, and it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen, honey. I don't care what your advisors, what your manager tells you. It ain't gonna happen, honey.
And
it ain't gonna happen.
James Brown's leftover wigs aren't helping either. Okay.
Actually, you know what? Maxine Waters, that is a wig.
Oh God.
That is. You could just tell that is a wig. Because how many times has she talked and her hair is like moving like crazy.
Yeah.
But Nancy Pelosi, I can't tell for the life of me if that is a wig or her natural hair, but Jesus Christ. But Maxine, though, this has me dying right here. This needs to be memed, ladies and gentlemen. So grab your screenshots and everything, and meme the hell out of this. Bob and I are going to probably judge the best looking one, because
someone of the Americas. Okay, yeah, it's the two biggest socialist dingbats in government. Have them talk to other socialist dingbats in Central.
Oh my God! Look, people, we're not as political on here as everything, but we do allow certain politics to go through here.
Some of them
but we all hate Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi, so this is for our enjoyment, ladies and gentlemen. And can we all be grateful that Nancy Pelosi is not Speaker of the House anymore? Because as big of a quack as Speaker Johnson is, at least he's trying.
Johnson,
at least. he's actually trying to make some effort, and I can respect that.
I've heard that job is compared to trying to herd cats. Okay, so you're lucky to get in halfway the same direction half the time. So that, I'm not going to complain too much about it. But it's like
I personally, if you were to ask me, I would choose Johnson over Pelosi at any day of the week, like any damn day of the week. Because let's face it, if the other bitch won, she would have kept Nancy in. She would have kept Nancy in for life. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. That's how it goes. But let's all be grateful that Nancy's not speaker anymore, and we actually have a halfway competent person. And I say halfway loosely because there are certain things. There are certain things I don't like.
He is conscious. He has all his wits. May not agree with him, but at least everything's working up top.
Exactly, and that's why I praise. I do praise him when he does something that I actually like, and I criticize him the same way. It's not a left right issue, ladies and gentlemen. It's based on how well you can do it. I criticize the actions of people. I don't criticize their words. It's like
I don't think I realize just how freaking close we came to really going completely under. If these minutes still hold on, it's like, oh god, the country would have been over.
And I'm not kissing the ground that Speaker Johnson is walking on. I'm not kissing the ground. I call it like I see it. And me and everybody else, we're the type that gives people a chance. And it's like, okay, let's see what you do and everything. And so far, my humble opinion, he is doing some stuff that I do like, and he's actually getting stuff done in a way that works. I may not like the other stuff, and I will call it out on that. I wish he was more aggressive on a few things, but there's like you said, good luck herding all the cats.
We've got
everything.
A very narrow majority right now, so like you can only push so hard before you get the usual you still got a lot of unipartyists in there. It's like, no, we just want to get along.
And people look at us, and it's like, oh, you guys are MAGA and everything. Well, that's not true, because
shall I grab the hat? Okay.
Well, that's not entirely true, because me and Bob were Republicans who call it out on both things. We do praise what people do.
And got the one I'm make Star Trek great again.
That's actually pretty funny.
I know if I put Rosetta will not come on.
We're the type to call it. We're the type to call it like we see it, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, the Democrats, they get our ire because they're doing things that we really do not like and don't want to reverse course on it. So that's why we lambast them 98% of the time. Now I get that not all Democrats are bad. Not all of them are bad. I get that. It's just the ones like these two bitches right here that I despise too with every fiber of my being.
Again,
if I had the capital and everything, if I had the money and power to do it, I would run against one of these bitches and beat them in the polls. Because unlike them, I'm younger than them, and I know for a fact that California, as shitty as it is, it can be saved if circumstances certain circumstances happen and certain things go the right way.
You got to fix the electoral system out there, though, because they've had too long to just entrench. Because once they got total control, then suddenly like they're running roughshod everybody. The California GOP was not that great when I was out there in the 80s. Now it's like it's worthless. They have no power whatsoever. No.
Yep, and it just goes to show. Now look, I'm a very centered person when it comes to politics. I listen to both sides of the aisle, and there are some things I agree, some things I don't agree. I may not agree with everything Bob says, but I'm giving him the time of day to express it. I'm not going to sit here and censor him because somebody got pissed off or or something. And believe me, there are people out there, not naming names, but they know who they are.
Yeah,
That
I could
that
throw
just
up the Rush Limbaugh music right now, break out the Rush Limbaugh,
this is no smoke.
Yeah,
This is no
yeah,
smoke to any of our friends. No smoke at
yeah,
all. It's just that there are other way worse people than than others, and I
mhm,
agree with that. And it's like if people don't like Republicans, that's
mhm,
okay. That's okay with us. We're not gonna
mhm,
force you to join our side or anything,
mhm,
but and we would give you the time of day to explain
mhm,
yourself, and that's all that matters.
mhm,
You have a voice, and
mhm.
we will be more than willing to listen
Yeah.
and see if we could come to a mutual understanding.
Mhm.
Now, I am not going to cut people out of my life because of political differences. I ain't going to
No,
do that
it's got to get pretty extreme
because
there. Yeah.
I base it on what I see.
Mhm,
If one of my family members is a really radical leftist, I would
mhm,
distance myself. I would wish them the best of luck in their life, and that'd be the end of it. That would be the end of it. I still acknowledge them. I still do, and I hope for the best in their life, and hope to God that they realize how crazy they look in front of
mhm,
everybody else, and why they're not invited to the Christmas parties anymore, and wonder why they are so hated still.
mhm,
It's not and I know and like I mentioned, I'm a huge person when it comes to
mhm.
family and all that. But in certain circumstances, you just
Yeah.
gotta draw the line in things. You
It's
just
like
have to
I'm
draw the
not
line.
discussing international tariff policy when all I asked was to pass potatoes. Okay.
Exactly. And I have a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle that I love and respect. And I don't and I may not agree with
Mhm.
everything that they say,
Yeah.
but I do listen
Mhm.
and I give
Yeah.
them the time of day to explain.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I
Yeah.
respect your opinion. We're still
Mhm.
friends, and
Yeah.
that's the end of it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna throw you under the fucking bus and say, "Oh, you're a bad person. Don't hang
Mhm.
out with this person. Oh no, don't bring this
Mhm.
person onto the panel. We're fucking mad at him uh because of what he said about Trump and the first lady. I don't give a shit what they say about Trump and the first lady. I don't give a shit.
And
If they say that Melania Trump's hair looks bad, then that's their opinion.
they're both
That-
big kids that can fire back on their own, and they will.
exactly. If they don't like the hairstyle, well, honey, go look in the mirror and see for yourself.
Yeah. Anybody says the Melania, she's a fucking supermodel. Okay. Like, come on. What? Really?
Pass it back to Tim, please. Oh wait, I'm gonna take that down. But in all fairness,
All right.
oh, you gotta
Step
go
away.
do something
Yeah.
real quick.
Just step away from it. So.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, go ahead. But in all fairness, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what your political alliances are, I still respect and cherish the friendships that we do have. I may not agree with everything that everybody says, regardless, but I'm willing to listen. I am willing to listen to you and give you the time of day to um explain, and that'd be the end of it. That would be the end of it between us. I'm still your friend. I would love to hang out. I still hang out with them. Regardless of how it goes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not that political. You ask me, I'm just an American who wants to see his country be prosperous, respected, and loved again. We had that we've had that way back when. I'm well aware of the shady histories of my country. I'm very well aware of it. And there are certain things I look at and wonder what other options were there at the time to make it appeasing and everything.
Boo.
Hey, I was wondering when you were going to show up.
I wasn't sure. It depended on when I would be at the house today, but hormone therapy is not friendly today, so I haven't really gone anywhere.
Yeah, me and Bob were just having we're just having like a lighthearted political discussion. Nothing too crazy, nothing too serious. And
Oh, so
also
Bob hasn't gone off on his tirades yet.
and also we were laughing at this. You're gonna bust a gut on this. Look at that face. Look at that fucking face. Rosetta, you cannot tell me that these people are on something. I don't know what drugs these people are. I don't know
Honest-
what
Honestly, there are some
paraphernalia.
people on both sides who the faces they make and the things they do to their face to stretch it and alter it. It's like
You cannot
something
tell
else.
me.
I put their faces in the same category as recent faces from Kimberly Guilfoyle. Listen, what the fuck happened to them? You know?
I wonder which advisor, which handler told this wonderful person to go out there and make that face. I wonder. Oh,
yeah,
why don't
that's
you
the
go
one.
out there and make
Oh.
that face? You're gonna garner a lot of support. Don't worry, you're gonna look great. You're gonna look great, honey. Meanwhile, everybody in the chat, myself and Bob, were laughing for 20 minutes straight at this whole thing, and just picking apart the stupidity.
I swear there's something in politics. The people who like embed themselves as political figures or really embed themselves as like their entire personality is being attached to political figures, and it's on both sides. They end up being the most deranged looking in the eyes, the most stretched out through plastic surgery, all of it. It's like otherworldly.
You can't tell me that Maxine Waters is wearing a wig. That you can like Nancy. That's her actual hair. That is her actual hair.
I can't tell you for sure if it's a wig or if it's really altered and dyed. But at her age, neither of them have their hair natural anymore. That's attestable. Again, that applies to the women on both sides.
Okay, so we're done
Like
with the
I said,
politics for a
there
while.
is something really wrong with it. They always do. It's the extreme political women on either side. They're over plastic. Their faces look deranged. Their eyes look demented. It's like,
Are
they're
you
creepy.
okay there? But it's like, are you okay over there, madam?
yeah.
You're making that weird face again. Are you sure you're able to come up on stage in the
Yeah.
condition you're in? Because honey, I can handle this press conference. You don't need to be here. You can go and
Politics sucks the life out of your face.
There's a
Anybody
reason why they
wanna-
call her Mad Maxine. It's not just a cute joke.
See,
on the
It's not just her
Right.
though, and it's not even just that
Oh,
side.
yeah.
Look at fucking Guilfoyle 8 years ago versus now. Something's really warped her, not just the plastic surgery.
him. Mitch McConnell. He looks ready to fall over.
Oh, the guys get it too,
Oh.
but the guys get it differently. They don't get the
and
stretched out
Turtle
plastic
Man is
surgery
retired,
demented
yeah.
look. They
Turtle
get
Man
that
is finally
aged,
retiring, thank God, but
cryptid
yeah.
turtle man that feels like he's about to piss himself. You know,
And probably
Like,
has.
I'm and of
it's both
course.
sides. They all end up looking like this on both sides. male and female.
And of course, chuckle fuck Schumer. Yeah,
Oh, God.
that chuckle fuck. Yeah, he
Because politics eats your soul. I don't care which
Yeah.
side you're on. I don't care, male or female. If you stay in the beast long enough, it eats your soul and destroys your health.
Yeah, Chuck
Mhm.
Schumer was a civil libertarian when he was in the House.
Yep. But
He gets
look
to the
who.
Senate
But,
and, yeah,
but
gets
if
to the
you
Senate, though,
look
and it's
if you
interesting.
looked at who they align themselves with, then
Yeah.
that's all you need to know.
That's the thing, when you get into the
I-
Senate,
I
you
know
have
who
to
they
feel
are.
Not
more of
even
the, the crazy
anime.
part-
Anime. It's not even that. It is absolutely both sides. You can see it. Look at freaking Grassley for crying out loud. He's the crypt keeper from hell.
Chuck Astley. That's why I call him Chuck Astley, because take the G. You take the letter G out, you have my exact opinion of that man.
Only people I have seen who don't come out of politics looking like some sort of deranged demonic creature are the people on either side who don't stay in long enough and accept term limit ranges. They come out looking maybe older, but relatively like they were. And whether I agree with them or not, I can see that. But if you stay in the beast long enough, it'll consume your soul and you'll look like a monster from hell.
why do you think I walked away? I thought about running for mayor and governor of Arizona at one point, but looking at the checks and balances and the life expectancy and all that, I'm like, I'm gonna age a lot faster in
California,
in that,
Arizona's really testing out the thing.
I'm gonna age a lot faster. I mean, would I make a great governor or mayor? Yeah, you damn right, I would make a good one. I know for a fact.
My husband and I joked about this a long time ago. He always said he could never try to be in a political office because could you imagine him trying to play damage control with the things that come out of my mouth?
Yeah,
you are all losers. Get a job and shut the fuck
up. Yes, my fellow Americans, on the subject of terror matters.
James, as much as I hate both sides, I don't like the people who mock medical issues, even when while they're serving. And the reason I have a problem with that is because it's not good karma.
Well, I mean,
that doesn't mean that I don't think that they're creatures or that they should retire or they're not fit for office or stuff like that. But let's not mock it. And I'm not saying you are because you just mentioned it. But there were people that were like celebrating it and making fun of medical conditions that can look like that and shit like that. It's like, no, Peaches.
No,
that's a bad look on you. You know.
I just imagine you meeting with some government official somewhere and trying to.
And yes, I got myself a whole bunch more of my bandanas.
Okay.
Rosetta, how good are you with with skincare and all that? Because I need your opinion, because I've been seeing this a lot lately. I've been seeing like this right here a lot more often than I should. I don't know if you can see my mouse.
I think that part of a lot of the resolution.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's part of?
There is also, I've seen with a lot of these women who use a lot of skin products heavily on the face, where you'll actually get these like weird aging marks where the age here and the face aging don't match and they'll start looking deformed against each other.
I think in Maxine's case, there's a lot of, foundation to the point it might as well just be
that
spattered.
Also, because a lot of these people will use foundations that don't match the skin color, so their neck will look really odd to their face. But also, when you make those kinds of sour faces for decades, you warp your neck. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all I needed to know, because I looked at it and I'm like, are you okay there? Are you okay there, Maxine? Are you okay there, Nancy? What's up with the little neck thing?
Well, neither of them are particularly okay.
Yeah, it's not that they're okay. Are they at least tolerable to go scamper off about your merry way and go piss off? And
Nancy's got enough chemicals in her body to qualify as a Superfund site, for God's sake.
There was a joke years ago that I was told, and it was about this plastic surgeon who was driving down a highway, and he saw this woman that was in a horrible car crash, and it mangled her face and her chest heavily, and there was nothing around to save her. So doing the only thing he could, he found a nearby animal, and he grafted the flesh of its ass onto her face to save her, and now she's Speaker of the House. And that was when Nancy was running it back to basically say she looks like a horse's ass.
Oh, absolutely. That she does. She does look like a horse ass.
She is a horse. Actually, no. This is in the right party. What's their mascot?
Well, to be fair, I've always kind of found that a little interesting because honestly, both parties are full of jackasses, but one's a little honest about it. I mean,
yeah. Also, Rosetta, you're probably confused about the title. I came up with some topics, some interesting topics we could talk about for Knights of the Anime Table. I'll run them by you and see where you want to go first with this as we get more people, because I would love to hear more, more discussions about this.
I do my face cream.
I got video rental memories from Blockbuster to Hollywood Video. Our first time going there. I also got a goriest movie and anime we ever watched, and in Bob's case, Star Trek, because I know Star Trek for a fact.
The SETI EO scene so unnerves him.
Yeah. because there have been some creepy things in Star Trek, and I feel like that does
Oh, me and
that
Bob
does
need to
count.
catch up on our Star Trek streams.
Yeah.
Me being gone the last couple months from
Yeah,
everything.
I've had to do a few solo just to get them out of the stack.
And
And
it's so weird doing it without me anymore, isn't it?
Mhm.
it is. And then we also got games we weren't supposed to play. And then Box Art Lies, which Bob gave his take on one of them. And then the weirdest rentals ever. That's the topics that I came up with while I was thinking about it, because I'm like, why don't we make the show a little more interesting and do something that we rarely talk about? And I feel like, well, we haven't done video store once because everybody we did touch up on it a little bit, but I want to dedicate all that to one episode where everybody gets a chance to explain all that and everything. And I know we have the game and all that. We'll see what goes on and everything. We'll see if we can get more people in here. I know everybody's busy, but
We didn't do a lot of video rentals in my family. That cost money we didn't have. Even by the time we got out of the extreme poverty, that wasn't exactly very common. We just waited to find really good clearances or thrift stores of the movies if we wanted to see them.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like, because I've been to, let's see, I've been to three different video rental places in my entire life growing up. One of them is still, unironically, one of them is still there. Hey, what's up, DJ Ronnie G? So basically, back growing up in Michigan at the time, in north of Detroit and everything. I was north of that. We had Hollywood Video, we had Blockbuster, and then a place called Family Video. Family Video, I feel like we have been there, I want to say, more times than Blockbuster, given everything, but we've been to Blockbuster, we've been to Hollywood Video, and Blockbuster. I loved going there. That was a lot of fun on a Friday night. Sometimes we go to and my mom and my mom, God bless her soul, my stepdad, and my sister, every other Friday, they would ask us, they would ask me and my sister, hey kids, it's video rental night. It's also game rental night. Oh, go ahead, Eagle. Go ahead.
I was going to say on that, with Family Video is the one that managed to last almost 15 years past all the others. Because when all the others started going under, they took their already discounted kids' videos and started renting them for free with adult rentals.
Ah.
And so for a long time, they were still getting the rentals because people wanted the free movies for the kids so they could still get the kids in the other room to watch something so they could have adult night.
Keep it track.
I want to say Harrison Township, and between Harrison and Clinton, between Clinton Township and Harrison. Go further out. It's about in that area. That's where I grew up in the late 90s. It was a good neighborhood too. Like, the neighborhood we were in was pretty good. My grandparents, both of them, who have sadly, before my grandfather remarried, my original grandma on my dad's side, they both had a really wonderful house. You should have seen it. You would have loved it. It's still there. They still have it, but now, I'm gonna stop myself right there because I don't want to divulge further because of the individual that I have
Don't dox
total,
them.
I have total animosity towards right now. But they lived up in a good neighborhood as well as my childhood babysitter and a good friend of mine. Also, unironically, both
She's got a fluffy.
She's got Fluffy. She's got
I
Fluffy.
got this over it. Okay, so we did try going to SeaQuest and was very overrated overall. But I did get to spend some time in one of the interactions cuddling with the Bengal kitties.
Oh.
Who apparently all decided that when I came in, they nuzzled their handler, walked over, and all started curling up under and on me the entire time. And he kept stalling it, trying to get them to go see the other people, and they just stayed on me.
Disney princess syndrome there, yeah.
But I got to spend time cuddling with Bengal kitties there. And then I bought this.
Yep. And
but most of the facilities highly overrated and kind of crappy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Oh. So back to the story.
I was just playing with this. I wasn't trying to sidetrack it.
I know. It's adorable. So my stepdad and my mom, it was Friday night. I believe it was 98. It was summer 98. And they're like, okay, kids, what video store you want to go to? You have your options. You have the Hollywood Video, Blockbuster, and Family Video. My sister wanted to go to Family Video, and I wanted to go to Blockbuster. Now there was an agreement here. My sister and I, we were allowed one video. We had to rent one video and one game only. My sister picked hers with Family Video, and I picked mine with Blockbuster. I'm really trying to remember what we rented from there around that time, but I know my sister did get Barbie race and ride. It's actually it's actually the horseback one. It's where Barbie's on a horse. You get to take care of it and everything. It's that one. And I think she got a Disney movie on top of that. As for me, I got actually, now I do remember. I got Tiny Tank for PS1. I got that. I got that one. That one was a fun game as well. As for the video, I believe it was Titan AE.
That movie is seriously underrated for what it is.
Yeah,
it deserves so much better fame and love than it got.
It does, and I love that movie. I would love to have that. If I can find a physical copy of it, I will happily get it. But and later, and fast forward, same thing. Whenever I spent the night at my friend's house, we would go to Blockbuster, but this time it was different with them. With them, it was so different. They would actually go to Pizza Hut. It would be Pizza Hut, Hollywood Video, and then back to their place. My friend got GoldenEye for the 64 because, and come to find out, 2 months later he got it for his birthday. So hindsight's 2020, ladies and gentlemen. That's actually pretty funny. Joking aside, that's what he got, and his parents got a James Bond movie. I'm trying to remember. A View to Kill. It was that one. It was that one.
Not one of the best ones. Yeah.
It was that one. My friend and I, we were playing. We were just playing GoldenEye and everything. I get up because they had two separate living rooms. We had two separate. They had two separate living rooms. I inadvertently walked. I was gonna go get something to drink. I was gonna get a can of root beer. I inadvertently look over, and there was a scene. It was a black female actor. I'm trying to remember her name.
Grace Jones.
Grace Jones. Yes, it was that one. It was that one. And she literally dropped the robe and everything, and I saw her ass, and I'm like, hi. So yeah, I remember that one, and luckily I didn't get caught, but I had like
I love when you made that reference to seeing that in the movie. Order just turns and looks at you like you're demented. And then goes
Yeah.
back to what he's doing.
And then imagine my friend's face. Like walked back, I had this goofy ass smile on my face, and I was drinking the root beer and everything, and just gaming. I'm like, and he looks at me. He's like, "What the fuck are you so happy
I
about?"
think
I'm
that's
like,
the
I
look
just
that
saw
Ormy's
Grace
giving you.
Jones.
Look at her. Anime, she's giving you that look.
well, fuck you, Ornery. You can give me that look all you want, but you ain't getting treats.
Oh.
You ain't getting shit. We
Yes,
love
do
you.
me all the time, don't you, girl? Yeah. Like,
This one's going to the save later.
Yeah, so Bond movie. Yeah, you're right about that. But all in all, it was a lot of fun going to there. I gotta say though, I liked Family Video a bit better because that's the one I have more memories with later on, and I can see why my sister was adamant about going to that one. And I haven't been to that one in 10 years.
the last few family videos closed to about 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, James, great soundtrack, so Bond movie.
Yeah.
All right, Ormy,
Frankly,
I need to set you down, sweetie.
the Duran Duran video was better than the movie. Okay, that was more of a Bond film than the actual movie.
Ormy, downward, not upward. She's like,
That was the last number one hit they had too. And they almost immediately broke up after that song came out.
And all I'm hearing is Bowling for Suit. Girl, all the bad guys wants reference. Thought she'd get a hand on the member of Duran Duran. See, the cat doesn't want to get down, does she?
No.
Come on.
Look at her. She's just like,
Oh yeah, what the hell? My perch. My human. I'm not going.
yeah, she was just looking and everything.
Mhm.
In terms of Bob, do you have any video store memories?
Well, a lot of it was just effective. Just over the hill was a Blockbuster. Now it's at an urgent care center. But
Well, that's actually a good.
I suppose
switch right
but,
there.
But it's still
In case you might need it in case something happens. You might need it.
We've had to go in there a time or two. This was back when we were homeless.
Over where I live over in Cedar Rapids, the Blockbuster they had there when I moved there, which closed right after, turned into an Army recruitment office.
Oh wow! Wow!
The one that was
you
over
can't
by
tell
my
me they're militarizing the place.
the one that where my folks' house used to be, over about 38th and Youngfield. That one is now it's changed a few times. Right now it's a Tokyo Joe's.
Do you have her treats? Maybe you could get her off me. She's like, I gotta let go.
She is just clinging to you. I never seen her that clingy.
Mm-hmm.
Usually she doesn't do this when I'm on camera talking to people. She does it when I'm on my own.
Ah,
But she's been really clingy. There you go.
there we go.
There we
Follow
go.
the food,
God
yeah.
damn.
Oh, food. Bye.
But she gets like this one. I haven't been around as much, and because I was gone for a month, and then they were brought here, and then we left for a week, and then she's been really, really clingy the last week here.
Oh, James, I have been actually on our way to school one time. It was elementary school at the time. At Tenniswood, my mom's car got stuck in the snow in the blizzard of '97. And my stepdad, thank God, he had the truck and everything and pulled it out and all that.
At least
It got stuck 3 times. It got stuck 3 times, and by the 3rd time, my mom was screaming and cussing at the fucking steering wheel. It was hilarious. She was
I'm
so
guessing-
angry.
James, I'm guessing you didn't have to resort to the usual tactic of unfreezing the lock.
Or pissing on it.
That's exactly
You know what Steve just gave me for the cat is a little tub of chunky salmon in a cat-friendly Alfredo sauce.
Oh,
Ooh.
Baby girl, no. It's orneries. You already had treats earlier.
but they're
She's
treats. Treats are mine. All treats are mine. I have decreed it. I am the cat. And I'm cute. You must obey.
Ornery has pushed this tub so much, eating it hard, that she's pushed it from over there by the fan in the bed to under my chair, and she's still eating.
Yeah.
It was either 90. It was either 90. It was between 96 and 99. James, one of those years that I do remember that incident happening and everything. It was roughly one of those years. I can't remember the month exactly, but it must have been December. I would have to say December, November, December, one of the two. But I do remember how one Halloween it was cold as fuck though, and my mom and my stepdad took us, and he and I were having this conversation the other day, and he was laughing about it, but he felt bad for us, but he's like, you know what, we wanted to give you kids a good Halloween. And you toughed it out, and we got
nice try. You're not taking that from her.
Oh, look, it's
the little...
Oh wait, that's the other one. That's Panther.
That's Panther.
It's the little
Baby
snake.
girl is the biggest one now. Look at her.
She's
not
a
all,
tubby.
Not all just hair. Huh?
It's not all just hair. She weighs about 13 pounds now.
Yow.
Baby girl is huge.
I'm not sure Jonesy weighed that much.
She's long, she's chunky, but she's not really that fat. She's mostly muscle. She's got a lot of heavy fur.
You're giving the Rule 34 furry community hard-ons by saying that.
Good girl.
And that went over her head.
I'm ignoring it.
She's ignoring it,
yeah. Good girl. You don't get to eat Ornery's food. No, you don't.
Yeah, speaking of which, where's Fatal?
About that.
Is he working or what?
Yeah, he's working, but there's a lot I can't get into.
Oh, okay.
He you know that all that. Well, I'll say this. What I can tell you. What I can tell you, Bob.
Yeah, how much trouble he was getting into last time? Yeah.
I can safely tell you that he still has his job.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I could safely tell you that, however, unfortunately, he got the laptop privileges taken away. So he can't exactly do it here.
Yeah, most of it.
However, Rosetta and I have a plan in motion after this weekend because I'm going, as everybody knows, I'm going to Comic-Con this week. So next weekend,
the nerd.
So next weekend,
You're
instead of
San Diego Comic-Con?
No, I'm going to the Phoenix one.
Okay,
the one that's
what,
down.
You got into San Diego?
No. I would need to sell 2 kidneys and a damn piece of my rib just to go. I would have to do that in order to be there. Yeah. I need a reason to go to San Diego. I need a reason.
Yeah.
STCC, after all that shit that happened, that traffic thing and all that. Yeah, no fucking thank you. I'm happy as can be.
Yeah.
But by the way, side note to my weekend, to all the people who keep telling me that I'm old and frumpy or fat. Okay, so we went to go get a box of gourmet steaks from local pop-up butcher thing, right? And this was not a cheap box of steaks we were trying to get. Actually, over $500 of gourmet steaks.
Yow.
And that was with a discount value. This guy apparently was enamored with me because everybody else was getting that steak and then walking off with that steak case and walking off with this little flat of extra things that he gives with buying the big case, right? We got it, and he started handing me stuff. By the time we left, we had the original case of steaks. He gave us an entire second case that was supposed to be $550 for $100. He gave me an entire sampler case of multiple meats that was almost $300 free. He gave me an entire seafood case that was supposed to be about $300 free. We left with 4 giant cases of meat and a bunch of the little flats for just over what the main case of meat was supposed to cost because he kept giving me stuff.
I'm reminded of the scene in Aaron Brockovich. In your boss, like, how did you manage this? They're called boobs, Earl. You know.
And I just sit there going, and he keeps giving me this stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, but Steve's just sitting there going, okay, come up. Let's go. Keep giving us more. That's fine.
And I guarantee if you'd flash them, it's worth it. Yeah.
And all this is
Here's
done.
another couple porterhouses. Yeah.
We get back and we go through this, all these gourmet steaks and like
Mhm.
high grade Australian red prawns and stuff like this.
Hmm.
And it came out by the time it was done with all the freebies he gave me to costing about $6 a meal.
Hmm.
And that includes the meat cases he gave us the discount on, included almost 2-pound T-bones. So we've got a very stacked freezer here at Mom's house.
Yeah.
Some of which has to go back to my house. Some of which I gave to Mom. And about that, I opened up a couple of the things of the seafood that I can't eat because there's certain fillers used in some seafood I can't.
Generally, Australian prawns are about that big.
Oh, they're huge and they are so good.
Mhm.
They're so sweet. Oh my god,
Yeah.
they're so good. Anyway, we had some last night. Anyway,
Well, you're talking
had
crawdads.
three-
Yeah.
3 2-pound bags of those,
Mm.
along with a big thing full of crab cakes, which unfortunately, because of the spices used in them, I can't eat. So we're giving those to my niece as a gift. Along with this big thing of butterfly shrimp, which has a filler in it that I'm sensitive to, but Mom isn't. So I opened the box up, and then
Mhm.
there's all these shrimp, which I can't eat, Mom. And she looks at me and goes, put my shrimp back in the box, and grabs it, starts hugging it.
Well, that's taken care of.
So we went through and we figured out what me and my husband needed. We went through and picked out some
Mhm.
stuff to give to a few people in the family who are shortchanged.
Mhm.
And then we gave 8 of the sirloin steak burgers, along with about 14 steaks and a couple things of seafood to Mom,
Mm.
who very happily stuffed it all into her freezer.
Oh, yeah.
Going, this is not the kind of foods I can afford normally.
Mhm. Yeah. I've heard of these.
We calculated everything out, and because of all the stuff
Mhm.
he kept giving us, even at the discount price he was doing for the pop-up,
Mhm.
what I left with should have cost about $1,700. It came out with tax and everything to about $700.
Yeah, just imagine what you could have got if you flashed him one. Just one of them.
So to all the
Speaking
people
of-
who keep going, nobody flirts with you. It's like, really?
Ah,
Speaking of which,
nothing speaks louder than fresh meat. Okay.
Oh yeah, because that means he wants to give you meat.
Yes, large quantities of USDA choice. Your select meat. Okay.
Uh-huh.
This episode-
just be so excited.
this episode, Knights of the Anime Table, is brought to you by Subway. Only at Subway you can have the $5 footlong and also the footlong nachos for $5 while supplies last. There you go, Subway. You're welcome.
What
You're
is
welcome,
it?
darling.
What is their
You're
slogan these days? Yeah.
I'm a cheap bitch. I'm sorry. I'm a cheap bitch. I had to do that. I had to do
Sponsorship
that.
options are available on all 3 of our channels. By the way, hello.
Yes.
Gourmet Angus T-bones.
Yes. It's product placement day. It's product
Now, does
placement.
this make every meat eater's mouth water?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my god.
Gourmet Angus T-bones.
I'm drooling now.
Can you ship that, please? Because I would
No.
gladly.
Mhm.
If I
Yeah,
paid
yeah,
you,
yeah, I'm needing
No,
something.
this is our anniversary dinner.
if I paid you for one,
The
one.
market value for one of those is how much?
From what I looked up, about $70.
I will. I will give you $700 if you do it.
I'm needing a few steaks so I can fire up the outside grill for once.
But then again, it's like, yeah, but you broke ass white boy. You can't afford
The
$700.
other thing that was in these cases, that my husband's excited about. The inside, the gourmet part of the T-bone, the small part in the inside of the
Mhm.
bone.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the offers he had in these meat cases, where he had 6 in each meat case, where he cut that section out and marinated it in spices.
Ooh.
And there were 6 of those in each one, but they're pepper based. I can't eat them,
Mm.
and neither can my mom. And Steve is sitting there hugging him, going,
My precious.
So yes, I got spoiled because apparently I'm still able to have guys look at me and flirt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like I said, how does it? They're called boobs. Okay.
well, what was and
I
that
did-
movie had so
I-
much
I-
wrong and so much crap they added to it, but
Oh yeah.
there was one point where they were trying to ask her how
Okay,
she
yeah.
accomplished something. And she's like, well, since I have no actual training or skill, I just went out and traded sexual favors for signatures. 64 blowjobs in one weekend. I have to tell you, I'm quite tired.
Yeah. That's like the real Aaron Brockovich did do a cameo in there. The restaurant scene, she's the waitress.
Yeah, and then afterwards she called it out because they didn't tell her how much they were changing.
Yeah.
And even she has come under flack because they found out she made up a lot of her story and she falsified documents on part of that case.
Ack.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was actually faked in that case that she actually falsified.
Is the case overall though kind of?
The case overall was actually ruled that it was false years later.
Mm.
So it's a tainted mess.
Yeah. No, listen, actually, she was actually a little prettier than Julia Roberts. So it's like,
That doesn't exactly take a ton.
hold up. No, it doesn't.
Hello, David. I've never understood why Julia Roberts is considered the pretty woman, because, and there's nothing against her. From everything I've seen, she actually seems to be a nice person.
Yeah.
But
Well, she played the hooker. That's the big thing.
but I've
One
never
of the key
understood
things to
the
win an
viewpoint
Oscar
of
in Hollywood,
pretty.
play
She's
hooker.
got a mouth like a horse, just like my sister. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hi, sis.
But needless
They
to
don't like
say, between having like over 6 pounds of the Australian red prawns and all the other stuff, I'm really excited for my future meals right now.
Oh God. Listen,
Did
Our
we
benefit
warn you
card is
that
tomorrow.
those prawns are, the large prawns are full of hormones. You know that, right?
My hormones are already fucked anyway, so it's different.
Yeah, prawns.
what
should
the
come
hell?
with a
Go,
warning.
go out in a blaze of glory.
Prawns should come with a warning. Warning. They may fuck with your hormones.
My
Five-
hormones
5
already
minutes
fucked with
later,
it on
now you tell
supplements. I'm not that worried.
Might actually balance things out.
me. Yeah, there you go.
The
Yeah,
hormones that are
that's
too
true.
high in my body, there's like 4 hormones they did testing on with me, and they're all
Mhm.
known to connect to the sex drive.
Mm-hmm.
And they all tested about 5 times higher in me than normal women.
According to these readings, you're a Clydesdale. What the hell?
So basically, I am what the doctors called, I guess you'd be what we would describe as a biological nympho.
So you have an excuse.
No, I've read about it. There's actually more a biological case for nymphomania than there is a psychological case.
Mhm.
It doesn't make my husband any less happy. It makes him happier.
Oh God. no. He's willing to step up and
Are
do
you
his duty. Damn it.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, by the way, to everybody here, tomorrow is 19 years I've been married.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Mm.
That's why I said those T-bones are our anniversary dinner.
No,
So
set you off.
They're
I missed-
huge.
I
She
missed
showed them
a
off
lot.
earlier. They're huge.
Yeah. So
Reach about 2
Basic-
pounds.
basically, David, what happened was I went to a local butcher's pop-up stuff the other day, and he was extremely flirty with me and kept giving me full cases of meat free.
ooh.
So I left with what he was supposed to give me freebie with the steak case, and the steak case should have cost about $700. Should cost just about $640 for everything that I was supposed to buy that we were planning. Between the discount he gave me for a second steak case and the case of seafood and the case sampler case and stuff he gave me free, I left with about $1,700 worth of gourmet meats for $700.
So about an extra
Wow.
$1,000 worth of
Yeah,
meat.
but where did we get to Julia Roberts from meat?
Jacked like a piece of meat in her movies.
You mean she was treated like a piece
No,
of meat?
actually, it was
Well,
referencing the whole Aaron Brockovich thing and talk about sexual favors to get what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you know they're called boobs, Earl. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But,
that's
uh,
the
well,
truth. These, you
Oh,
know,
good.
I mean,
if
I will
anybody,
say,
Mm-hmm.
I have no respect for these activists, okay, because they are basically they're all whores for money. They're not.
Oh, I was,
They
you know,
don't care about anything.
one of my D-trans.
I was going to say, generally
you-
speaking, in my life, I can say one thing.
Mhm.
I've always had one of two reactions from people. Either they're really, really flirty and give me shit because of these, or they treat me like I'm supposed to be subhuman, slutty, and stupid because of them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in between.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not used to people just acting like I'm just a normal person. They're either really extremely aggressively flirty, and sometimes that's fun because I get free meat and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's also a side where when I was in shop and stuff, I had to work like 10 times harder to constantly be called things like bimbo because of my chest.
Mm.
So there is a balance where if you have a figure that's the outside of the norm, you get weird reactions, and you get them as much from the women as you do the men.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I read
Women
a
are the
post
ones who
other
treat me
day.
like I'm automatically stupid or slutty, or like they want
Yeah.
deduct IQ points for cup size and shit like that.
Yeah.
That shit usually comes from women. Men just go,
Mhm.
woman, what
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, see, you're getting the visual reaction from women who wish they had the power over men.
But it's like, you know, saying the D-trans friend of mine, I won't say who it is, but talking about how when she was still struggling with it before it got on the T or anything, and got into one of these Reddit groups or something, and talking to some guy who was trying, and he's wanting to talk about, you know, breast size. Now, how big are you? And you know, and it kind of creeped her out. And I said, he wanted you to send a topless pic. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, David.
Guys
Hey,
will go to guys will go to any length, especially teenage boys will go to any length just to see tits.
Yep.
Also,
Yeah.
there is a creepy
Yeah.
sub
Yeah. Mhm.
genre
Yeah.
of people that really are fetishizing
Anyway,
and
no,
harassing trans people.
Yeah.
There are
Anyway,
I've seen
no,
it.
Mhm.
I saw this video the other day. All right, and please don't do this, Anime Night. You know you know how a lot of center their head. Well, this guy's centering his chest, and he's got a shirt so tight, and you can actually see he's got man bones.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I
Look,
won't say
I'm
who it
sorry.
is
I'm sorry to
live,
burst every
but
guy's ego out there, but moobs will never be equivalent to
I think I
boobs.
spelled
Give
his
it up.
name
God,
wrong.
no.
I don't care how sexy you think you are. A, pecs are not the same.
No.
They're not.
No.
B, if you get pudgy there, it's not going to be good. It's not equal to a woman having.
Yeah. And we
No, but-
advocating for mastectomy. It's me or something. Come on, do something with these guys.
No,
Come on.
But this guy's not the only one. But I've noticed a few YouTubers. They're getting to about 10 or so years old with their channel, and they're starting to wear the tight shirts and
Mhm.
Oh.
the nipples
Oh, God, no.
showing. Oh yeah, and they're centering the camera
You
on
won't.
their chest.
I'm moving up to
You
I'm moving to
won't.
2XL for guy. I need some room to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I
some
won't-
there's
you
some,
won't
X-
honestly-
see me.
there's some XL shirts like this is too tight. No.
I went through
Yeah.
a period in my life where I was
I've
wearing a
never-
size
I've been-
5 pants and a 3X in shirts just to go around the boobs.
yeah. See, I went from an XL to 2XL, and I've lost weight, but I'm still not back to XL. If I put on an XL, I'm going to be like, "Want to see my
Yeah.
floppies?"
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
I've lost some weight, but it's with the
Yeah.
treatments and the
Mhm.
hormone balancing and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much
Yeah.
I do my pedaling, I do my workouts, I eat very little. I don't lose the weight unless I'm hit that hormone balancing and hormone therapy just right, and it balances the issues.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get skinny again. That ship is long sailed,
Yeah.
but I can at least get more toned.
Mhm.
But you know, I may not be skinny, but the guys still hit on me and give me free shit. So what the hell?
it.
$1,000 and
But
find me.
You know, it's weird seeing people in their 30s have a midlife crisis, isn't it, Bob?
Midlife. Come on. You know,
Okay, actually,
like
technically,
t-shirts are-
38 to 50 is the midlife crisis age.
Well, I'm talking. These guys, they're just hitting their 30s, maybe mid-30s.
I wouldn't say that's a midlife crisis. I would say that's a pre-midlife crisis because they're realizing they're not adolescent pubescent bitches anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe because I never hit that stage. I turned 61 in July, and I still knew.
The only thing,
and I'm still dealing with this shit.
Yeah.
wow.
I've got a Kermit the Frog, for God's sakes. Come on.
I've been okay. I posted the other day, and let me see if I can get you guys to see what I'm saying with this one.
Mm-hmm.
The internet has no lack of single people who can't get a mate, telling everyone how to hate the opposite sex and blame them for the fact that nobody wants them. You want to have a good relationship? Stop listening to micromanaging manosphere trolls and gold-digging bimbos, and get to know somebody on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that does not mean Facebook groups.
No. Although I will say, me and my mom have hosted plenty of groups where we're getting like family and friends together, people we've known for years or people we've connected with that are actually deep groups that actually do a lot for people.
Yeah.
But the overall of most Facebook groups is dumbass shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like another friend saying, what is the point of small talk? Because walking up to random strangers and saying you want to do it is kind of rude. So,
Bend over, bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they kind of frown on that in the Walmart ad.
Well, the one
What-
woman
what-
that was running around and kept trying to like flirt with all the employees, and I kept ticking at her that her chest looked like hams.
Oh no! Oh no!
Okay, we're going to pull up the list here.
There was also another incident. Okay, again, having to deal with Walmart in the city when people are crowded on Friday. I'm just trying to get in and get, because it's the only store in the area that sells the diet juices I can drink. The only one. So I'm just trying to get in, get my juice, get my diet protein bars that I can eat, and get out. So I have my emergency foods for my medical issues.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to get through, and this woman damn near runs her cart into me, just tries to shove her way into the main aisle where we all are.
Mm.
And I was already ticking heavily, and I started ticking, you can crash now, and tried to shove her into the wall and said, crash, bitch, tick. Everybody around me is cheering.
Oh.
The thing is, she was such a bitch and tried to shove her way into the crowd that as I'm ticking these things and pushing her cart, people are cheering.
Okay, that's got to be a card somehow. All right.
I swear the ticks get me in the most interesting trouble. And this is why, for so many years when I was working more to suppress them, and before the lightning made it even worse, I would just not do the errands. I would just not shop. I would just not be around people for months on end sometimes because I couldn't control it during those periods. Because I know they get me in trouble, you know? I know I say stupid, crazy shit when they flare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's aggressive as hell. I ticked at one woman who was whining in a store and being a Karen. You can die now, choke on a dick. And she's looking at me like, are you kidding me? Why would you say that? I have Tourette's, and apparently even my ticks don't like you.
Ooh.
It's like, what am I supposed to say? I don't know. Some days I love my ticks, and some days I hate them. It was like, yeah, I've had some of the more interesting moments, the more colorful moments. For some reason, I have started ticking in the most like AI computer generated voice randomly at men that you have no business.
Okay. How's this for Kurt? Starting the demolition derby with aggressive shoppers at Walmart to the enthusiastic cheers of bystanders.
That works.
Somehow I misspelled cheers.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I do this stuff, and my mom's terrible. She'll set off my ticks just to see what they'll call it. Mothers can be fun creatures. I'm just wow, telling you. It's like, but I still say the most funniest thing that happened with me with them was seeing Luke Kitchell a couple months ago.
Mm.
When he's in the middle of taking a drink and taking a breather for a minute, the room is dead silent, and I suddenly tick very loudly, "Wow, my boobs are huge." And he almost choked on his fucking water. And then he just looks over, looking at me like, I was like, yep, that's what came out.
Okay, here's one
Wow.
out of boredom. Go ahead and start the game reading cards.
I don't know if I can do the game because A, I'm at mom's place, and B, I don't know how long I can stay on because I'm still going through hormone therapy, and I gotta get stuff done for the anniversary tomorrow. But
Right, well,
I had to come in and visit you guys a bit because I miss everyone. I've been so busy the last couple months. I haven't been able to be around. Honestly, out of all the stuff I was given by the family, out of the memories and stuff of the of his grandmother, I think the thing that I liked the most is I was given 9 of these. They're little trinket, hidden trinket storage boxes that are made out of old ceramic work. And they are the cutest little hidden treasure boxes that are owls.
Oh.
And you just pop open and they have a little place for jewelry and stuff.
Oh. There's one I got to put in.
Aren't they cute though? And they are detailed, really detailed with real stuff on owls. They all come with a card with zoological facts, the type of owl they're based on, all this stuff. I mean, they're really detailed. And each one has something painted inside the box part that represents part of what they eat or their habitat. It's like really hyper detailed. They're really fancy, and I just love them. And then I looked them up, and they, depending on which one you have, they're anywhere from $20 to $200 each to try to get.
I just put one in here. Creating your own religion for fun and profit.
I can best that though. I can best that. Because these bags are real. And these bags were given me from her stuff. This is all real stuff, and it's jewelry from her stuff. And the one that got to me when I got back here and opened it up and found it. Let me see which box I put it in here. Is this one. If I can get it loose here a sec. Which I found on the back of it actually is brand stamped, sealed for the Old West Sterling Howard mines. This is, from what I can find, dated at about 1850 is when it was made. And it's real sterling and turquoise. And that was one of the things that his family gave me. That's special. So I've been a little spoiled the last couple. But I will also be honest. I ended up at the funeral. I ended up the unofficial family photographer for 4 days, doing everything for the funeral and all the events around it. But I got quite a bit closer to his sister. It was a crazy trip. And then I met up with Milestone.
Okay.
And Kai.
Is there video of that?
No, we were too busy romping around out in the woods acting crazy and doing like the botanical gardens. We went to the UC Riverside Botanical Gardens together, and I found out that in their flower bed they have opium poppies.
Hello.
Which I realize are only legal places to grow places where they're using it for scientific discovery and botany work.
I like the excuse.
But this is in the botanical gardens at the college campus. You telling me they don't go in there and swipe flowers for their drugs?
Yeah. I mean, Riverside is kind of where it's on the border between the real world and, Okay, here's a hoodie I wouldn't mind having.
Adam, I can't hear you.
They act like, we didn't do nothing wrong. Oh, really, honey cake? Then what the hell is that on your desk? what is all those seeds on your desk and the flour and everything? Don't lie to me, honey cake. I know what you're doing. Don't lie to me. I see that roll of paper on your fucking chair. I see it.
What's that on the shelf? It's a planter. It's a hookah.
It's a fucking hookah.
Don't
You
give
can't
me that
convince me it's not.
I've seen Alice in Wonderland. You got a fucking hookah.
Real quick, David, I'm sorry I didn't make the show this past Friday. I was not feeling good. I did want to talk about the King of the Hill thing. I did want to talk about that.
Yeah, we never got to it because nobody showed up.
Really?
Oh,
I haven't.
Hold on. Late's power went out, and Dr. Coffenhouse was working.
well, that's a sad thing. They wouldn't
Well,
show up.
at least
We got to do some coffee and gaming.
there you go. Oh, those are pretty.
I just finished them. I just got to put do the sealant and do the final like beating on the chain to hang them and stuff.
Ooh,
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
wait to see them. So basically, I practically worried over nothing.
You're fine.
Okay, good. Because I woke up and I looked at the clock and it was like 9 at night. I'm like, fuck.
We
I
were
slept.
had out by then. We were
Yeah,
had out
I was like, I
Fine.
rushed. I literally fell over and hit my head on the edge of the wall over there trying to get onto the PC and everything in between. But I guess that was an unnecessary headache.
By the way, to anybody who wants to call me dainty, realize this is one of my favorite necklaces to wear. It's a skeleton riding a Harley tied to a thick black biker chain.
Uh-huh. Ghost Rider's angry cousin. Okay.
And I love wearing this thing.
Okay, I just had a thing come across from this Richard's always died. The way to Eden missed the television mark, but its message is truer than ever. Want to save it for a dedicated thing, or can we yak about it now?
Go for it, guys. Whatever you want to do. See, I have no shame. I'll wear rowdy biker jewelry all day long.
She got an extra $1,000 of meat. Do you think she's going to come?
Speaking of which, before too much later tonight, I'll have to go out and make some ribeye steaks for Steve. Part of what he gave us was a pack of 20 ribeyes.
Oh, baby.
You're sitting there going, I want this.
Like
You're
I
like,
said,
if only you could bring all that meat here and drop it off with me, right?
like I said, I made an excuse to fire up that grill on the patio.
I had to mix some ribeye. Yum, 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 yum.
I remember when we started doing our online shopping, have stuff, okay, throw some steaks on there.
By the way, made
Mhm.
and given out to everybody in the family to help them with their medical is at this point now 26 8-ounce jars of different CBD creams for medical issues. That I bought the ingredients myself, made them specially to each person's need, and gave them out.
Nice.
So I'm my own little freebie drug dealer, right? I mean, and then there's these are clusters that are sweet. They taste similar to like eating like little sweet sesame clusters in Asian food. But the glaze on them, I made myself with monk fruit and spices, and it's sunflower seeds, flax seeds, and sesame seeds blended with a little bit of fresh coconut.
Yeah.
I've actually been making a lot of food. But why I've been busy, I've been taking care of everybody. Also, the day before Easter, I broke part of my foot with galvanized metal serving trays, and I ticked and spilled them while I was cooking. Oops.
Headline from the Oxford Mail: Emma Watson joins Oxford University rowing team and loses 3 races.
Yep.
Generally, I don't think anybody's going to be successful who's so desperate for attention they have to marry themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
'Cause-
Oxford, they take their rowing team seriously. But if you lose to Cambridge, especially, no, that's it, you're dead.
Yeah. The pettiness of Oxford and Cambridge knows no bounds.
Oh, definitely. Mhm.
Like, sweetie, you're not that special.
Yeah.
The only reason you have a career is because somebody thought you played a whiny, bitchy little kid well. Oh, wait.
You are. Okay, that's all my email stuff here.
Yeah. It's
Honestly,
like,
she annoyed me
it's
then.
like a lot of
One the
actresses.
reasons I didn't like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead, David.
that's all right.
Mhm.
I was just going to say, you could describe that about a lot of child actors.
Mhm.
True.
But
And I do feel sorry for the ones who end up screwed up because they went through abuse and shit like that.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
feel for them, absolutely.
yeah,
But some of them just get so full of themselves that they are sucking their own ass.
Apparently, Rupert Grint's one of the few
Because of Harry
that's a
Potter?
pretty decent guy.
no, actually, you know what gets me?
Mhm.
The people who played the good guys in Harry Potter, most of them turned out to be assholes.
Yeah.
Well, the kid who played the bad guy,
Yeah,
he's actually the nicest kid in the world. He's actually
He's-
quite
You know
He's-
what kills me
he
with this
stuck
whole
up for
thing
Joe
with
Rowling.
JK?
Yeah.
Do you know what kills me about this whole thing with JK?
Mhm.
A, you got the left demonizing her, claiming she's said all this stuff that's anti-trans. She hasn't, just because she's trying to protect women's spaces where actual
Mhm.
predators are trying to get at us.
Mhm.
Then you have all these people on the right going, well, she's our hero now. It's like she's still a leftist.
Yeah, she's still very much a leftist.
You
Yeah.
guys, she's still very liberal.
It's I remember. Okay, on this fine, we're fine, but it's like she's still okay with all the stuff going on with it.
she's,
One,
yeah,
why is there a new
It's
Harry
like,
Potter
dear
series
leftist,
anyway?
she's one of you and she's reasonable on this topic. Dear right wing, she's not one of you just because she's
Yeah.
reasonable on
she
this
loves
topic.
the race
Yeah.
swapping.
Mhm.
She loves the mass immigration. Just that,
So still refusing the thing. Yeah, okay, race swapping Hermione. I can finish that one. Race swapping Snape. That opens some very bad questions because what's that mean for back when Jack and Lily?
Yeah, because she's the one who said that she
I mean,
literally
they're the
wrote
ones bullying the
character
black
based-
guy back in the 70s. Okay.
Well, also, she literally said she wrote Snape based on Alan Rickman.
Yeah, and drew,
Yeah.
drew pictures of him. Like, yeah.
So to race swap that is also
Sorry.
disrespectful to his memory.
But that's the hypocrisy of the left. She's just going with whatever gets her the
Yeah.
money to get her show done
Exactly. Me
because she lost her other. Yeah. 'Cause
and me
look,
and Joker spoke about this on Nightcast. It's
Yeah.
what we mentioned is, were we outraged?
Mhm.
Not entirely, because we explained it. It's not about it's not about the race. It's how it was presented.
Yeah.
Is the issue. The fact of the matter is, we don't have a problem with. We don't have a problem with the actor or actress. It's not. We have no problem with that.
Mhm.
It's a matter of how this is presented. It's like what
Yeah.
Joker always says, like,
Mhm.
sell me this pen, like, sell me this pen, sell
Yeah.
it to me.
Mhm.
How, like
Because-
pitch it to me.
you have people who
Go
have
ahead.
whined about
And then,
race
yeah.
swapping for the last 30 years,
Mhm.
and they still whine about representation. They whine about whites in Africa, but then they'll go to every country and say, we're the indigenous. Oh, you have to include us in everything. Oh, this is our lands now. Oh, we were always here. You cannot trust them. You cannot believe them. The only thing people care about is power. Okay?
Do you
J.K.
remember there was an
Rowling.
entire movement in the Black supremacy movement that literally is trying to rewrite history that all life is African and
Yeah.
natives are just blacks that lost our color and culture.
They're trying to say the Vikings were,
They
that's a
lost-
very
no,
ethnically
this
diverse,
one-
only because they occasionally kidnap someone, but generally,
Yeah.
no.
They tell me that Eagle Rider is white because she lost her empathy and the son doesn't like her. And I'm like, Facebook, why aren't you banning these people? You know, if I said that about them,
Yeah.
oh no, they're a protected class. That's the evil that J.K. Rowling is trying to create. J.K. Rowling wrote the wave of feminism. All the feminist groups went out and bought her book.
Mhm.
And then what happened? She wrote some others and it didn't go so well. because she
What
turned.
happened?
This is what a lot
She
of
didn't
people
toe the
don't-
line on one issue. She
Issue.
refuses to say it's okay to put men in skirts in female prisons and locker rooms wherever they
Yeah.
can put us in danger.
Mhm.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
And it's not, and she didn't take the stand because, I'm putting money ahead of principles. She had no idea it would affect the book sales.
Mhm.
She had no idea that Warner Brothers would
No.
turn around and cancel her series. She thought she was protected.
She thought literally this should be an agreement on our side. Let's not take a guy that's convicted of SA and put him in a female prison.
Yeah.
This should have been a slam dunk to anybody reasonable on any side.
Yeah. She didn't take the
Mhm.
position because she liked men. She took
Mhm.
the or race. She took the position
Mhm.
because she herself did not want a trans person in her gym.
Yeah.
hmm
Now I'm taking the thing of like we're gonna, some of us are yes, I got the MAGA hats over here, but it's like we're gonna try and keep attached to. So look, Joe, look at who's hating you, and look who's willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Come on. Maybe we're not all. Maybe we're wrong on anything. We're right on a few other things too, and you've been kind of misled.
Joe,
Come over.
you're on the spectrum of libertarianism, and you just don't know it yet because
Yeah,
you're still
exactly.
clinging to feminism, which has
Mhm.
betrayed you time and time again. Okay,
Yeah.
Feminism will have you in a burqa very soon.
Yeah.
This is why I do not understand these people. Egalitarianism and the actual suffragettes before the feminists took it over were absolutely good movements. They were
Mhm.
positive.
Yeah.
They were about basic
Mhm.
human rights. They were about equalizing the courts and how you were treated
Mhm.
and your right to work and support yourself. That's all it was.
Exactly.
And then the feminists took over
Yes.
Then
But-
and they ruined it.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, feminists lost the vote. They held a vote just for women, and women voted overwhelming numbers against feminism. So they created a new version to sneak in feminism and won the vote the second time.
Mhm.
They dropped everything else and just kept the basic human rights.
And if
They
you
just used it as a shield to get people on their
that
side.
was the modern feminists, though. The original suffragettes, all they
no,
wanted
the original
no,
suffragettes.
they're not. The suffragettes were not the feminists. They actually
No,
hated them.
I'm not
if you actually
talking
read their
about the
writing.
suffragettes. I'm talking about the feminists who got the vote.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm separating
The ones
that
these
took it
two
over.
people here
Yes,
listening.
yes.
The suffragettes pushed for the vote, and the reason it was rejected the
Mhm.
first time was because of the feminists interfering with what they were
Yes.
pushing for and going over the line.
Mhm.
It was always the suffragettes pulling them back that actually made any impact. The feminists wanted it all. They wanted to take control over men, not be equal to them, and that's always been
And
that.
what do we have? We have 100 years of baby stepping to femme fascism, just like every other country. People forget. Fascism in Italy, who supported Mussolini the most. Fascism all across Europe, who supported socialism the most.
But a lot of that is propaganda from childhood that
Mhm.
women have been being fed since the 1800s too.
Mhm.
And it's
Absolutely.
Most women are egalitarian if you actually pull them out of this shit and get them to listen and look on things. It's the extremists that are
problem-
making it horrible. And the extremist response to them is also making it horrible. And so you've got a whole bunch of women looking at, well, we've got a bunch of women here telling us that if we're not like these like glorified, oversexed, doll-faced trad wives are horrible. And we've got a bunch of women here saying that if we care about men's rights and their issues and their struggles are horrible, how about they all go fuck off, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's where most of us feel like, and that's why most of us don't talk
Yeah.
as much any of these issues anymore.
Yeah, I think
We're
that's,
sick of the extremists.
like I said, that brings us back to what I said earlier. We're at the Eddie Murphy and Trading Places scene. Was like just stop the music, get the fuck out.
Mhm.
This is why I made the post I did,
Yeah.
because the manosphere has become really, really toxic, and it really does support a lot of it now. Really does support
Yeah.
SA, trafficking, slavery of women, dehumanization of women. But you look at the other side, the feminists they're responding to are not better, and they're the ones who run things like the Kill All Men campaigns and shit like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Why don't they
Yeah.
go be in relationships with each other, ruin each other's
Yeah.
lives, and leave
Mhm.
the rest of us the fuck alone?
But they can't. I run into people like that all the time. They have to
Mhm.
meddle in everybody else's life to
Yeah.
feel safe. Okay? The fundamental driving factor of feminism is feel safe. they think that they can win over Muslims. They think they can win over Africans. They think they can kumbaya and represent the world.
Unless you're Christian,
Well-
in which case they don't care about feeling safe around you. They want to kill you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we discuss Greta Thunberg? Or trip to
Let's
Gaza?
look at the,
Very-
let's look at the manosphere
I
too,
am
because it's
being
just as
a-
bad.
Yeah, I've been at these rallies. Feminists used to chant, kill the Christian, love the Muslim, kill the Christian, love the Muslim. They used to chant that in the 60s.
Which makes no sense because if you actually look at the cultures of the two religions, one is a lot more oppressive to women than the other.
Mm-hmm.
One
Openly.
is a lot more oppressive to homosexuals than the other. I'm not saying both communities don't have issues with that. I'm saying one is far worse.
But Marx convinced the public that we can re-educate the Muslim. They're only bad because they're reacting to white imperialism. Do you know what created white imperialism? 400 years of Islamic tax on Europe. created
Yeah, that's what started. That's what
Now,
started the Crusades. It was a reaction
will
to
talk
drive them
about-
out.
The reformers who want to change the religion, who are not necessarily bad, but were raised in it.
Mhm.
The imams who stood arm in arm around a Jewish temple to protect it years ago. People like that, but they don't survive long in these countries.
No, they don't. And the problem is the reformers don't survive much longer in the West because we keep importing just anybody.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we can talk about that conversation. And no, I'm not going to say everyone raised Muslims evil or everyone raised Muslim is going to kill people or stuff. But can we actually talk about the fact that the people who want to reform it into actually being a religion of peace are being murdered?
Mhm.
By the so-called religion of peace.
Yeah. Like I said,
That doesn't mean we hate the people in it. That means let's fight to defend the reformers so they can reform it, right?
like I said, we got Greta Thunberg. She's sailing her boat to Gaza. It's like she'd be lucky she's not blown out of the water, for one thing.
I'm not going deep into that part of it because
Yeah.
of reasons you know of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Well,
like
nothing to do with
can
her
we
issues. It's
just
just
acknowledge the
Yeah.
general consensus that yes, we should not be doing shit to innocent women and children. That includes
Mhm.
that culture, which has a
But they're
huge
calling
history
Hamas
of
innocent.
oppressing us.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the problem is you have people like
Mhm.
Greta who say that Hamas are innocent victims. And it's like,
No.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm really not getting into the Gaza Hamas Israel shit.
No.
I'm really not.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Save that for
Word.
my channel where I'll whip
Yeah.
out the Rush Limbaugh stuff.
yeah. I want to
I
I want
get
to
into the
avoid.
religious stuff a little bit, but I'll avoid that one.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I'm saying it's okay.
Yeah.
I said I'm ready to move on if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
I got a way to Eden thing ready to
Back
go.
to
If we
where
want
I was
to do
talking
a radical
about
shit
is-
here.
The radical feminists and the
Mhm.
radical manosphere, they are opposite
Yeah.
wings of the same shitbird.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
I
about one
personally-
gender having control and abuse over the other and no human rights for the other gender, and both are evil.
See, the thing is, one of the reasons why I don't like Andrew Tate has got nothing to do with his religion. It's everything to do with the fact that he has no respect for the fundamental beliefs that he was raised on.
And the fact he's an asshole.
How about the fact that he's literally on video saying he's done all the things he's being accused of, and yet people keep going, he's innocent, he's innocent.
No, I know, but
He's
here's the thing.
confessing.
He's
I
been
know
confessing
he
for 10
did it.
years. How the hell are people calling him innocent?
Look, I know he did it, but the problem is when they caught him, he was in Romania where he didn't do it. Had they arrested him in Sweden, no,
If you look at the case, the women went to the Romanian police saying they were being abused in that country.
but that was a lie.
No,
set up by
no.
yeah, no.
The whole thing claiming that's a lie is not documented. There's no evidence of that.
There's the court case. 2 years he was
I mean,
held
he-
in jail while they investigated
There's
the women's claims.
he's not
Hell, they
They had
vindicated.
to
They're still
release him for
investigating
no
it.
evidence.
Hell, he doxed himself with a pizza box. Come on.
He's not been vindicated. They're still investigating it. The reason they haven't pushed it yet is because they're trying to get every charge they can.
Yeah, they want to do it by the book and make sure what they do is sticks.
He's not been viewed as vindicated. He's not. The charges have not been dropped. He's still under investigation there.
Then there's something wrong because if they there's
Well, yeah.
something wrong. There's definitely something wrong because
Mhm.
I know, okay, and several people have said this. Had they followed up the original case in
Mhm.
Sweden, he would have been in jail by now, and they could investigate him as much as they want and add further charges.
Well, I think they're
This
doing
is
is like, no.
all
How many
smoke and
countries
mirrors.
have legal charges against him from anything from misdemeanors to big things, but money keeps changing hands and he keeps leaving, and then he keeps hopping to a new country as soon as
Yeah,
he
I
can get
know.
on bail.
So they're going to make sure they do this right. Let them take their time.
So it's like,
if
because
they
I
are, good on them.
Mhm.
Good on them if that's what they're doing. But I feel that they're spinning the wheels like they did with Diddy. However, they may have finally got Diddy.
and they may be because there may be a lot of corruption and bribery going on, but there are
Yes.
definitely people still investigating and trying to stop it. Look, when I call this out, when I talk about how horrible the Tate brothers are, there are plenty of people in MGTOW and MRA and all that. I stand by and I defend what they stand for and what they are. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
going
there's
to
a
throw
lot
the
of people who
entire
use it. Yeah.
manosphere under the belt because of Tate bros and the people who mimic them and spew sexist bile. Those people are a unique group and they need to all go fuck off, but that does not mean that men's rights activists are that. And I'm going to stand on that hill and defend men on that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I feel personally that this is not going anywhere. Whereas, I'm glad that, that finally the ball has dropped and says, you know why Ellen left the country? Because she went to Diddy parties. You know why Beyonce's running scared behind lawyers? Because she went to Diddy parties.
We got pictures of her at the deep.
Yeah. And the three women, the third who have testified so far, and two men, they've all been vindicated because for years they've been trying to get their cases out there. And under Biden, they never got one interview, not one follow back. This case was meant to go nowhere. Had there not been a change of government, Diddy would just be sitting there saying, it was all consensual, Your Honor, and he'd just walk out just like Tate. He said exactly
One of
the
the
same
things they're
thing.
investigating Diddy for is believing that him and Suge Knight intentionally created entire gang and race wars specifically to get their guys killed just for sales.
No.
That could be because there is no statute of limitations on murder.
No, there isn't.
Including
And
the fact that they
wasn't
have
sales.
documentation.
It
Documentation
was to
showing
keep
that
all
he
the money.
knew there was a hit on Biggie when he sent him to the place where the hit was sitting
The
and made him go.
14 founders, they had a pact. Last Man Standing got everything, right? All the music, all the rights, everything. So Diddy, but I think, we don't know.
So Tupac
And remember,
fans, you may have
Suge Knight-
justice. Yeah.
And remember,
Yeah.
Suge Knight is already in prison for all kinds of corruption, bribery, extortion, and manipulation of people.
There was a case a couple of years ago, and the guy says we could add Tupac's murder, but it won't keep him. It'll just add another life sentence to his multiple life sentences. And because he won't talk, we can't get the guy who pulled who ordered the hit. They got the hit man, they just don't have the man who ordered it.
Yeah.
And the guy who did it won't talk.
And he's already in prison anyway. He's not going to,
Yeah, what are you going to do? Take one life sentence off his 6 life sentences?
Yeah.
So it's like, but there's literally, they believe that they intentionally started an entire gang war that has killed over 20,000 people so they could sell labels.
Absolutely. This man was raised to be a psychopath, like so many others. That is literally the gang mentality. That it's literally they beat the sympathy and empathy out of you, and if you don't make it.
But to those who followed all of that, realize the first time that Tupac was shot, that he survived, the room he went into where no one would help him and he had to call the police himself, one of the people in the entrance of the room when he entered the room with the blood coming out of him was Diddy.
Allegedly, we don't have. I don't know.
No, that one there is actually evidence on because they actually have.
If there is
questions.
evidence,
They questioned the group when he reported it to the police. Diddy was among the people questioned that was in the room.
Yeah.
He saw him bleeding out from being shot and refused to help him.
Yeah, but you got to remember, they could just turn around and say the racists didn't come and save Tupac. That's all they have to say, and there's 1 million Americans who'll believe it because that's the repetitive narrative they keep hearing.
And I think if they hadn't taken out Tupac, Jada Pinkett would have stayed with him, and Will Smith would still have a life. Okay.
And she would have
Will
ruined
Smith would
Tupac
still
in a
be
different
straight.
way. He almost was better off not having to live that life of being cucked and abused.
Well, that's the problem with him in the first place. But at least Will.
Jada is an absolute piece of shit.
Oh, God,
deserves to rot in hell.
She's a definite vampire. Anyway,
they've deleted and purged everything, and it was even in news everywhere, and even all the news articles I can't find even way backing now.
Hollywood loves
Where she
fanatics.
said on her show that she taught her daughter how to masturbate by doing it with her.
Yeah. But remember, these people are
But
protected.
remember, that's
in
been
California.
purged, and she's being painted as an innocent victim and a mother.
Yeah, but California protects them because she's black. She could do whatever she wants to an extent.
The black and a
Because she's
celebrity.
black. Yeah, black and a celebrity. And in Hollywood, a fanatic is seen as a virtue.
Well, as
That's
a
not
nurse,
a
they're
fanatic.
walking through.
That's a child abuser. But I see your point.
I'm still offering the off ramp if you want to get out.
Yeah,
I hate Jada. I've hated Jada for a long time. She's one of those choke on an entire bag of dicks.
Yeah, well, she
Yeah.
probably swallows it and says, "Give me more."
She chews, I think.
Not because she likes it, but because she likes the pain that she inflicts on others.
Yeah, by chewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm just saying, she's raised to be a psychopath, just like so many others in Hollywood. And the next generation are probably going to be worse. And they will, and remember that Simpsons episode where they said, "Beware of the following celebrities"? I bet she's on that list.
Here we go. All right. We interrupt tonight's political tirade for a Captain April video. Okay.
to be fair, I wasn't really going deeply political on it. I was going,
I know,
Hollywood is trash, and I hate people that are bigots on all
It's
sides.
not politics.
So let's get-
I'm just saying there's a mentality in Hollywood that
All right.
is basically
Well,
toxic. to the
here's the
extreme.
thing where I'll agree with David. I hate that they treat every topic that deals with anything social or involving different communities or races or cultures as somehow being automatically political. The embedding politics in every aspect of our lives is part of the problem.
Yeah, Jimmy
Like,
Kimmel
kind of,
used to be
let's-
funny. That people find that hard to believe, but when he
That
joined
actually-
ABC,
There's too much self-aggrandizement going on.
Yeah.
in
Well, okay, so
Hollywood.
point, this episode right here, it's like it originally was more of a broader issue. This is about as close to political day as you get because the 69 hippies.
yeah,
If you think half of these chuckle fucks were egregious now, they were just as egregious as back then.
Yeah.
The only problem is half the fuckwits couldn't even figure out what the hell they were doing. What do you think a few plants are? Anyway, go ahead.
Well, let's
Captain.
get in there. Okay, so Wade Eden missed the television mark, but its message is truer than ever. Wade Eden is considered one of the Star Trek's worst television episodes in the entire
Oh.
franchise, but its underlying message still holds value today. This is Krista Esparza. She's kind of a mixed bag as far as
Well, we could chalk this up to the topic weirdest rental ever, or
Well, let's see. When fans of the original Star Trek series rank its worst episodes, the Wade Eden inevitably makes the list. The episode involves a group of young people led by the ex-professor and harmonics expert Dr. Severin, basically think Timothy Leary with weird ears, who are searching for Eden. While the story as a television episode leaves much to be desired, the message becomes more relatable as our society faces the advancement of technology and what it means for our future. And so the desire for simplicities like with video doorbell, like this thing going off every 10 minutes, text message alerts, constant clang of social media push notifications often shatter the peace we try to cultivate. It is a loud world filled with expectations to be available every moment of the day, which raises stress levels and may affect. This is supposed to make our days easier. You know what it does is you no longer leave the office, leave the work at the office. It follows you everywhere.
Meanwhile, the guy in front of you can't figure out how the fucking tap function works on his damn credit card.
Yeah.
He
Well,
just
Dr.
stands there, looks at the damn machine like he's an idiot.
Well,
It
You
takes
know what
20
I do? You know
fucking
what?
minutes.
I hate the machines where you got it on the side, but it's not marked, or it's got to be on the screen and it's not marked, and you go to put it on the, why can't you just make it all the machines the same where you put it on the goddamn
they're
system?
And when you don't want to run a debit card as debit, you want to run it as credit. None of them use the same button or code for it, and nobody puts signs on it telling you which to hit. So you have to randomly guess: do I hit this button or this button or this button or this button? Oh fuck! Reset it.
And then you get you got a chip card, and they've only got a strip reader, and it's like,
Which is it? Like which?
Well, the real fun, Walmart, they got the things that have a tap function. They never activate it.
They did at some stores, and then they made them deactivate it.
Oh, cute.
Well, I will
But they
say
actually had
this.
it active for a while. It's
I
either
will
active or
say
it's not.
this: the tap function is actually useful when you need it. Other times are not. People just do the quick tapping thing, but some of them you have to hold the damn thing down just for
To
even
the
to
face.
fucking read.
I just like that.
something
Cuts down the wear and tear on the card.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I miss
hate
the
fact
day.
that
I
they
miss
have
the time where
different
you just swipe it
machines.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
let's
when
get
they
back
had
to
one
this.
machine, one way to do it. Everybody knew swipe and go.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm going to say the controversial part here. For some reasons, I actually do like the chip and the tap and go for one reason.
Mhm.
Do you know how hard it is to hit the line and swipe when you have tremors
No,
in your
no.
hands and ticks?
yeah,
It's the problem with tap and go. Your chip wears out, so you got to hold it for
Yeah.
longer.
Oh, I'm not
all
saying
the
it doesn't have
machines are the
issues.
same. So your chip is not in the same place, and you don't know where to hold it on that machine because it could be the screen, it could be the side, it could be the top of the symbol. It's not marked which machine it is.
One sec. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that there aren't issues with it. I'm saying it needs to be fixed up as a system because having a quick tap system that helps with people who have hand issues and can't guide things
Yes.
well is a good idea, especially for those of us with medical issues who
Yeah,
really struggle with
every
swiping
all
sometimes.
I'm saying is, every
But it's
machine
a
should
crap
be the
system
same.
right now.
Yeah.
we're in transition now. Back to this actually, because it's kind of nothing. Well,
Yes,
Dr.
sorry.
Severin is unfortunately saying his desire to return to a world without all its bells and whistles is more relatable than ever. While it's still possible to escape the demands of technology, unplugging and ignoring the lure of social media is more difficult than ever. One thing is leave the phone at home. The longing for nature. When Spock tries to explain the group's quest to Captain Kirk, he says they hunger for an Eden where spring comes. Kirk replies, all do. But his tone suggests that this hunger cannot be satisfied because humans embrace technology in a way that is now entwined with their everyday lives. Many people try to escape the demands of technology when they take vacations by going somewhere green, natural, and quiet. Maybe it is this longing for Eden that still lives in each of us that coaxes us to visit forests, mountain trails, and beachfronts when we escape everyday life. When it's clear that Dr. Severin has twisted the idea of Eden for his young followers and his own desire to return to basics is manic, it is something that humanity in general still longs for and returns to every chance we get. I'm just on the reminder of the line in Don Henley's song "End of the Innocence." You know, that same small town in each of us.
Mm-hmm.
You struggle to maintain eventuality.
I think
Yeah. The
technology is a real balance.
individuality.
Mhm.
because there could be real benefits that could make life better for people in some ways, and then there's
Mhm.
a lot of it that's just over coddling people who don't need over coddled and basically
Yeah.
removing all obstacles from them, which does not make us better as people. It makes us worse.
Mhm.
So I think it's a double-edged sword, which unfortunately it's really wow, it's really helpful to people like me, but it's really harmful to a lot of
Mhm.
other people, and so it's really frustrating at times.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's see, wraps it up here. You know,
Yeah.
struggle to maintain individuality. Starfleet's uniformity rankles Dr. Severin and his followers as they all seek a sense of individuality and uniqueness. They want to experience the world in a way that allows a sense of organic growth within the self and express themselves as individuals with music, poetry, and the way they dress. Tongo Rad, greatest name for a space hippie if there ever was one, asked Chekhov, why do you wear all those clothes? How do you breathe? When it's to wonder if Rad's father, a high-ranking ambassador, tried to squash what he might have seen as rebellious attitudes in his son, causing the younger Rad to turn away from tradition. Okay, one, how do you're sure that's the family name is Rad? How do you know it's not Tongo? And then what do you think of the way to eating this? You know, whoa, no, damn bugs.
Red Man's tradition is several generations previously a rebellion against the society norms. Every tradition's built on a rebellion against previous traditions.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
And I
Well,
think they missed the mark with that episode.
Let me give a little step in this. I wouldn't say every single, I would say most. I've seen traditions be born just because people find something they truly love, but generally a lot of traditions come of people going, I don't like how it used to be done. I was never a fan of it, so let me try something new. And so I would say probably about 90% of traditions are rebellion. And about 10% are people discovering something new that works well for them.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, today's
illustration
Celtic's built on the tradition of liberal democracy and the Roman Republic.
Yeah. Remember there was an illustration I heard in a sermon though, like how his wife when doing like ham or roast would cut off the ends before putting it in the pan. And when why did it? Well, that's why my mom did. Okay, well, why'd mom do it? Well, it's because my mom did it. Had to track down the grandmother, find out why did you cut? Well, because my pan wasn't big enough.
Yeah,
that's that wasn't the problem with the mom and the daughter. No, grandma, the pan wasn't big enough. So like some of these traditions start off with like you don't need to do that anymore.
It's like all those people who rush to cook with canola. Because it's better. How do you know it's better? There's the other side of the coin.
God, they said so.
Yeah, because someone said so. It's more natural. Yeah, you got to be careful of breaking tradition as well, because then they'll force feed you cancer for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And then say, oh, we didn't know. Yes, you did. The turkey gave it to turkeys and they died.
So now it's like, the illustration's like, McDonald's fries in the 70s, it's like potato, beef tallow, and the salt. McDonald's fries now, it's like a laundry list of shit.
Yeah.
You wonder why,
They knew red coloring in the 70s was bad. Most countries except the US banned it.
Yeah.
Now it's not all red colorings, but it was 6 out of 7. But because you weren't making the other coloring, the government of the day just said, "No, we've got to protect the economy."
Yeah, they get
Now it's time to make Bob hungry.
Or red dye number 4. What do we got there?
Prawns.
M's and prawns. Yeah.
Big ones.
I said they were big. Yeah.
Yeah, tiger prawns.
That's like I talk about. What are those hot dogs?
No, they're Tasmanian tiger prawns.
Yeah.
Grown on a farm.
Actually, these are wild caught Australian.
In a pond, Mark, do not drink. Nah, prawns are raised in brine. You don't want to.
No.
No, those ones are certified wild caught Australian red, which means they're caught in the oceanic water.
Oh, they're okay. Because
they're not raised in the sludge pits.
So it's oceanic bottom feeders. Okay.
Yeah, oceanic bottom feeders.
And to anybody who complains about shrimp being bottom feeders, don't eat turkey then, because they literally survive eating things out of the crap of other animals.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Turkeys are not known as.
More people look at me and go, "How can you eat shrimp? It eats the most disgusting stuff." You eat turkey, right? Yeah.
So do they.
Literally, the way they get their nutrients is they eat the undigested stuff out of other animals' crap.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a corn kernel.
So if you eat turkey and you think shrimp is disgusting, you're kind of nuts. If you think both are disgusting, I can understand you. If you go, fuck it, it's nature. Nature's gross. I'm eating both. I'm with you.
Have you? And then you say, "Have you had pork?"
Pork. I mean, wow. Get porked. Squeal, bitch.
Yeah. Some people are more equal than others. Remember?
See, I'm not squeamish to animal stuff. Maybe growing up as a mountain girl, maybe the nature work, maybe how hungry we were if we didn't hunt and fish. By the time I was 4 and 6, I was gutting animals with mom and helping scale catfish and rip out their guts and stuff. I didn't have a chance to be squeamish. I was shooting animals and fishing myself when I was little,
Mhm.
It all cleans up the same. Once you scour all the crap off and cook it fully, it's the same. I mean,
It's still burned into my memory. I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe 5, and walked up, and we're up in the mountains on some kind of vacation, and come up on my dad and maybe my Uncle Cecil, but they're gutting a deer. Well, I had already gutted a deer. There's this carcass laying there, the dead deer, and then hollowed out. It's like, okay.
I will say I was very, very little the first time I actually shot a deer myself.
Yeah.
But the first time I remember dealing with gutting a deer and dealing with it, there's a story to this. We were in a very, very small town. So we were going to another neighboring town for treatment for dad for muscular dystrophy stuff and for some more testing. We were crossing, and the people in front of us hit a deer, and they hit it hard.
Ooh.
Yep.
We waited behind them a little bit. Ranger showed up to help them because it was limping into the woods. We went slightly further. We hit one, but it was fine. And it bounced away. It was fine.
Yeah.
We go a couple miles out of the mountain into the town. Dad does his appointment. We start heading back. By that point, the ranger had the deer that the other car had hit. He was at the side of the road with it. He had to put it down, and he had just tested the meat. We stopped to see how he was doing, and he gave the deer to my parents. Because he was going to donate it to a food bank anyways.
Yeah.
Because this was when we were living in Nebraska. That's the regulations then, is if the meat's fine, it goes to somebody. You don't waste it.
Yeah. Normally.
Which honestly, I believe more states need to do.
Yeah. Normally,
But-
roadkill is not good for the meat. So.
Yeah. But there's parts you can still salvage usually.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like states that require you to never
Yeah.
try to use any of it, because I think that's wasting a life, but that's a whole other rant.
Mhm.
So my family, we're in third world poverty at this time. We don't have any of these. We're lucky we're being able to get into a car and go to the city for this, for treatment. We're living on $200 a month for 6 people with disabled father and me at this time going through all this investigation on rare seizures and shit. We had nothing. We were usually going hungry. And so my mom went, yeah, we're taking it. Okay, this is not a big car. There were 4 kids in it with them. My siblings all crammed into the middle seat, and I was in the back.
With a dead deer.
And in that back, they put the deer. So the deer, with his rack and his antlers, had his head seat belted in place in the seat next to me the entire ride home. I was 4. When we get home, my mom drags him into the house. Now, again, the cop had cut it slightly. The ranger had cut it slightly, removed the part that turns quickly, and everything else was still there. So it could be salvaged in hours later, but most everything was still there to deal with. My mom drags us up Dad's ramp into the kitchen, grabs a stack of old newspaper, lays them on the floor, puts the deer on top of it, grabs a knife, starts handing knives to every kid and goes, help. And that was the first time I helped gut and clean a deer when I was 4, after riding with its dead head next to me in the car for almost an hour.
I was 13 and it was a chicken. The first.
Oh, yeah.
First feathers. No problems. Rip off the first feathers. Wait a minute. It's another layer. Okay, these are taking longer to pull out.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no. There's all these little pin feathers.
Yeah.
Doink, doink.
We had some neighbors across the street,
Yeah.
down a couple down a door or so, and they decided one day they're going to start doing a bunch of their chicken. I don't know if they'll do it for themselves or what, but they had a whole bunch of chickens they're going to start, taking out. So I got to see, the meaning of the word running around the chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah,
But that's what happens.
Because
And the way they did it,
body's nerves live for about a minute past when the head
Yeah.
is removed.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
twitches and runs.
yeah, the way they did it was it was like take a 2x4, get the chicken on the ground, right at the shoulders, and just snap it right up, and then
Sometimes when they're
running around the
severed,
backyard.
head continue to live a little past it too. And so I've literally seen one where it was severed and the body started running around and the head started picking at the ground frantically.
We tie their legs. With
I didn't
rubber
see that.
band their legs
I didn't
like
see
this.
that, but yeah.
That's why you often see legs tied like this. Well,
Mhm.
guess what? We had one that was able to break its ankles and flip around for like 5 minutes without
Yeah.
its head.
I watched a few chickens run around the backyard up there, and then finally drop, and then the
I
chicken.
remember.
They had a
I
whole
remember
setup
watching
in the
with my
garage.
parents.
Yeah.
Over the fence and going
Mhm.
through the porch.
Yeah.
Jump the
I
fence.
remember I went fishing with
And-
my parents, and we were just trying to get food. So Dad
Mhm.
got a partnership with the tribe to get us all free fishing licenses so we could feed ourselves.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
were literally just trying to get food.
Mhm.
I went fishing and I pulled up and I
Yeah.
just lifted up and showed my dad this catfish that was almost as long as I was. I was 6.
Mhm. Yeah.
My dad, without missing a beat, flips down the fish pinner for the scaling,
Mhm.
along with the scaling tool, and goes, "Get to work." And it was not congratulations; it was get to work.
You caught it. You got it.
Fish are a bit easier, you know. If you got a good rhythm, you can just go and get them all in one.
I find gutting fish grosser than gutting actual animals to me.
Yeah.
But
Because you only got this narrow little point to go doink without hitting
and
anything.
sometimes gutting fish, the moment you poke into there to pull out the sack, it just starts literally squirting shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the fish, a lot of fish are full of water in the lower.
Well,
abdomen.
yeah, they're fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I'm sure this is a lovely conversation for the people watching.
I'm
All
just trying.
33, apparently.
Just thinking back on it, whose idea was it for me to go across and watch them doing these chickens? And,
And the thing is,
because they knew what was going on.
Ah.
What to sit? Hey, go watch what they're doing, or that's what
Yeah.
or was it my
do
idea?
you
I don't know.
salt your see when you kill
What's up, Christian Freights? What's
Minnesota.
up,
Hey,
buddy?
It was like 50 some years
The thing
ago.
is, when you do a river fish, it's easy. Just
Mhm.
clean and gut it. With an ocean fish, after you clean and gut it, you should wash it should salt wash it before you put
Yeah.
it on ice. Should always wash it in the salt before you put it on ice. So otherwise, it dries out. It's no good when it dries out.
My preference is go to the store.
So I absolutely
Let it be done
I
by
grew up
professionals. I'm going to
as
do it myself.
redneck mountain girl as you can get. So I'm out in the woods and I'm watching things like a wolf bite the head off a prairie dog and guts spilling out. I'm going, hey, I'm going to take a picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got
Poor
some
Christian.
You've got some rotting carcass, and there's this worm pokes its head out the hut. She goes, click.
Poor Christian's trying to drag us on the topic here. Owning and recording VHS tapes. Okay.
Oh,
Do that
you're one of
real
those.
quick, and I will go back on
You're
that.
one of those.
My comment I made, I'm going to show you. I'm not kidding. I'm not
Here
kidding.
we are.
Yeah.
It was an adolescent gray wolf, and it was ripping the head off a prairie dog.
Yeah,
He looks happy.
He was very happy.
the wolf certainly does. Is that wolf or coyote?
I don't know about
That
the
was an
dog.
adolescent gray wolf. They mix a
Okay.
lot there, so there's traits
Okay.
of both in both.
And yeah, normally the bottom half of a prairie dog, there'd be a head there.
The doggy
Yeah.
was very happy.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Now here's the warp thing. Okay, this
Mhm.
was while I was in the car with my husband, his dad, and his dad's new wife.
Mm.
And while I'm taking pictures of this dog ripping apart this prairie dog, they're making jokes about the poor prairie dog who nobody liked that got sent to be sentry and got eaten.
Go ahead, Harold. That's fine. Just take a big gun. Okay. Oop. Yeah, I got him.
So it was a
And my
very
answer to that.
twisted and morbid moment in the car, but
Mm.
When Lion King came out for about a year, I used to tease all the
Mm.
go past all the vegans and start playing the Circle of Life.
Oh god.
Because I was at uni at the time. That
Mhm.
Circle of Life.
Yeah.
Drown them out with the Circle of Life. Somebody did an excellent clip to that. You know, the real Lion King. Have you heard of it? The real Lion King?
I'm
That-
not sure.
The lion turns to they use real lions and they turns to the kid Simba. I'm going to teach you how to be a lion.
Here, let me show you the difference between the coyotes we get here and the ones that are obviously mixed. This is a full-grown coyote here, as opposed to the other was still adolescent and was a lot stockier and grayer.
Well, he's happy.
The coyotes in this area are very orange, very red, very skinny, lightweight, whereas we have a lot of gray wolves, and the gray wolves and coyotes for some reason love mixing together. they mix constantly, so you find ones that are different stages of coy wolf everywhere.
Well, they're dogs. In every sense of the word.
Yes.
So that's the coyotes that we get the stages between, and I go out there and track the wild dogs and shit like that, and I'd rather deal with them than the freaking domestic ones and their bitch owners. Anyways, I mean,
Okay, Raquel is about to do her Fortnite stuff. I wonder if Anime wants to join us. Like I said, we're in the big live stream. Shall I send her a link?
I do need to get going though. I have to fix dinner for everybody before I try to get things ready for the anniversary tomorrow. 19 years. So next year you guys have to celebrate 20 years I've been married. 20 it'll be soon.
Let's see. Steph and I have been actually married for since what 2018, 17, 18. But she came out here in 2000, so
I got married in 06. We started dating and met in 03.
Yeah.
And it's been over 22 years since we got together.
Yeah.
So yeah. For my age, it's a pretty long relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You got married the same year I did, except I was divorced in 09.
And also younger, so I got married. I was 22.
Yeah.
So by the end of my 22nd year, I was married. We had, at that point, 2 cars. We had the house. We had all of it. By the end of my 22nd year. And I came out of extreme poverty and the poorest tribe in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
See, it can be done.
Yeah.
I'm not looking down on those who don't manage to make it, who try. But those who don't try and say, I can't do it.
Somewhere there's a nerdy engineer
Give it a
assistant
try.
waiting for you. Okay. No,
I tried.
You can do it.
I tried it. I didn't quite make it.
You can do it.
As long as you try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying and
But
failing
people
is
gave up on
always
me.
superior to not trying and just being sedentary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll talk to you guys later. Mad love to everybody.
care.
Stay out of
All right.
trouble.
Okay.
Mwah.
And I'm gonna go and shut off the game because we're not gonna. I don't think the game's gonna happen at this point.
Hey, look.
So I'm gonna shut
I don't know whoever brought pressure to bear on Fortnite to change Darth Vader. Shame on them, because people were having fun.
Yeah, it's still having fun. We're having all kinds of fun getting in there and getting Vader to say all kinds of weird things. Nothing naughty.
But I'm just
But
saying,
answer questions. Yeah.
getting people upset about Darth Vader saying
Nah.
stuff. Well, it's like crybabies. So all you're doing is building up resentment, and you'll end up like China, where you can't, where the intellectual has to be afraid of saying the truth because it'll offend the idiot.
Yeah, it's like one. I think we need to stop this thing about you have nobody has a right to not be offended. Okay. It's like, oh, you're offended. So fucking what? Being offended doesn't make you right. Okay. Like the one thing, the meme going, like, Gen X watching Blazing Saddles, as well. J. Jonah Jameson, just laughing his head off, and then Gen Z watching, Blazing Saddles, and the show Joffrey as he be like, it's like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're little kids.
Yeah.
Gen Y and Gen Y not so much, but millennials. Oh my god, they're such whiny, pissy, crying babies. But the thing is, they were produced by boomers, and they're hippies. They were, all the hippies who later became school teachers in California.
Yeah.
They created these whiny, horrible, and they're still creating them. They could, but the thing is, they're now retiring out and getting pissed off because Gen Z is just standing up to them and say, "You're offended?
You're fucking
Wait till
idiots."
I
Yeah.
and then drop an N-bomb, and then say, "Are you offended now?"
I think it may be part of but every generation looks back. It's like 20 years back. They like, hey, that's good. Because when I was a kid, the 50s were all the thing because Happy Days and all stuff. So we'd have 1950, look like greasers or whatever. Then a couple years on, and into the 80s, the 60s are suddenly the big deal.
Here's the thing.
Now
You
it's
went
like looking
from
back at it, the 70s and 80s are now the big, everyone looking back and discovering George Carlin, Richard Pryor,
They
Sam
didn't
Kinison.
learn
Wow.
their history.
Mhm.
The 40s, they were offended by
Mhm.
bare flesh of a woman.
Mhm.
By the 60s, you had the sexual revolution and
Yep.
naked women. Then what happened? Well, we got the offended came. Okay,
Yeah.
the feminists started getting offended over the sight of the naked woman,
Mhm.
and then we slowly regressed. But then we had the surge in the 90s where you had sex and you had real sex going on in movies. You had naked women walking around smiling at the camera. You had real boobs with real jiggle. Then what happened? The early 2000s, the offended got back in power in California, and they've been there ever since.
Yeah, they learned their 1984 very carefully. Just one meme I posted. Again, I don't have the ability to put them up. But the one
This is
the
what
one
people
post, I
don't
was horrified to
understand.
learn. The thing I was horrified to learn that in the 1950s, same-sex attracted people were told they were criminals and then pumped full of body-altering chemicals. Thankfully, nowadays, these people are told they are trans and then pumped full of body-altering chemicals. We've come so far.
Yes, we have. But the thing
It's still eugenics.
it is eugenics. Yeah, this whole race mixing is eugenics. Everything the government does, the eugenics movement. Okay, you look up the membership of the eugenics movement, you go, wait a minute, why? And then you suddenly realize it's not past. These people didn't indoctrinate their sons; they indoctrinated their daughters.
Yeah.
And these daughters became single moms, and then they became wives of politicians. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't subscribe to the fact that Bill Clinton has a black son or that Hillary Clinton's daughter is Vince Foster's. But you still got to remember the fact that Hillary's worn the pants in that family since day one.
Yeah.
Since they were cousins back in Oxford.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a conspiracy theory that they're first cousins. I'm sorry.
Like I said, the old the difference between conspiracy theories and confirmed fact is usually about 6 months. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that Chelsea Clinton's a whore. I'm sure everybody before they get married asks for $10 million per child, and never lives with a husband.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Okay.
I mean, people. I mean, Hillary Clinton was a bride. The money went to her daughter. So what if Hillary lives in this in a house bought by her daughter? That was her daughter's decision.
It's like, where do you think that? Weddings are generally, for the have never been cheap affairs for the upper class type thing.
That's why we have NGOs, so that they're expensive for the taxpayer, not for us. Or it's like, it's Bob's birthday. Oh, what's this month? Pride Month? We're having a Pride Month party, everybody.
Oh,
and we
God.
claim it on our taxes. Oh, it's Bob's
Something
birthday.
a lot of companies are bailing on Pride celebrations, especially for the big lefty cities.
Well, that's
They're pulling out of like L.A. and New York. No, we ain't sponsor this anymore. They are backing like Charlotte Pride. They're getting corporate sponsors because they're not nuts.
Yeah.
They're not having these guys parading down doing lewd things in front of kids.
Like I said.
But like LA, no, you're on your own.
Yeah. Like I said, when they first tried feminism, they failed. So they let the suffragettes and the other rights activists be their shield. Just like today.
Yeah.
Hamas, they're using human rights activists as meat shields, okay?
And what they're using their own civilians as literal human shield. That's the thing. Like, that's why the Israelis are killing civilians. Yeah, because Hamas is locating the weapons and the at schools and hospitals. Like the Israelis go to outrageous things to try and minimize casualties. Some guy to be like a third floor apartment, taking a sniper shot. They will make a point of targeting just that window. That's where the guy was. It's like people were heard around. Well, we got the guy.
They complain about Israel dropping a bunker bomb on a bunker and killing civilians. Never mind, the
Mm-hmm.
bunker was full of ammunition, explosives, and the civilians around it were linking arms.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Big Tal.
Yeah. Yeah, and also
Never mind the facts. Because
the
every
innocent
living
Hamas civilians.
never-
Did you see all the innocent civilians cheering these guys as they're drawn through town with a dead Israeli in the back of the truck?
Yeah.
Innocent, yeah, that's the thing. The
Innocent
entire
civilians.
population is a death.
So, which is the innocent civilians when they're lining up
Yeah.
to rape an 11-year-old girl?
Yeah.
And then when she dies, they said it was Allah's will.
No,
Because he
they're
didn't
they're
stop
outside
us.
cheering him on. Yes, they're killing
Yeah.
their Jews.
Actually, she wasn't Jewish. It
They don't
turned
care.
out. Yeah, they don't care.
Mhm.
It's like the girl who died in. They tried to make her a martyr. Some girl died, and they made
Oh,
out that she was
yeah.
run up.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
turned out she was run over by the
Yeah, there's some. I'm forgetting the
the Hamas opened fire on to
Rachel something or other
truck.
thing. Yeah, Rachel something
Yeah.
or other thing. But
Yeah, the
Kind
A,
of-
they said the A truck ran her over, and it turned out turned out she was shot, and then it was the Hamas trying to steal the
Yeah.
mob. They were trying to steal the food, and they
I don't trust
and
any,
during the shooting,
any footage coming out of Hamas. I don't trust because they've shown this one guy has died like 5-6 times. He's in
You
a
know
new
what I
video.
love?
And, one thing when he's creating, you got creating this child. Oh my God, they're dead, and the kid, scratches the neck.
I love it when they show women and children, and they've got makeup, no
Yeah.
hijab. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that's the studios
Yeah.
in Lebanon. That's all they do is propaganda
yeah.
films.
Mhm.
They've got makeup on. Have you ever seen the buildings? Have you ever seen the collapse, the same collapsed building over and over again?
Yeah.
where it's just a neat pile of bricks.
Just trying
And
to
it's
change the
amazing.
angle. Yeah, and it's the same guy. It's like, it's like,
No, I'm talking about when they do the women and children one.
Yeah.
They got brand new clothes. Like
Yeah.
this is one. I love New York. And it's like
Yeah.
this shirt's been on 9 different women. It's
Yeah.
the same shirt. It's got the same blood stain. It's got
Yeah.
they've all got makeup on. They've all got neat hair.
Mhm.
But it's the pile of bricks in a row. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen a building collapse and the entire thing is
Mhm.
like neatly bulldozed in one nice neat little row?
Or the
Uniform height, no sign of any, no furniture in the building,
mhm.
the glass, nothing is in it. If it was hit by a bomb, it'd be
Yeah.
everywhere,
Mhm.
not in the neat collapsed pile of bricks. But because the average chud is an absolute moron,
Mhm. Yeah.
they believe what they see
Mhm.
until told otherwise. But by the time they're told otherwise, they believe what they've seen.
Mhm.
It's just most people don't understand this. Most propaganda is simply repeating the lie and denying
Yeah.
the truth. That's all it is.
That's where a lot of
You're
these,
right.
these posts are like they'll say trans women are women, and repeat it 6-7 times. It's like, what are you trying to prove? You can copy and paste a sentence
If
6 times.
something has to be normalized, it ain't normal.
Yeah,
If you have to keep telling me what Israel's doing is a war crime, brother, you haven't seen the last 1,600 years of Islamic history.
Mhm.
They invented the term war crime.
They raised it to an art form. You know, but when is Islam going to have its Reformation? Actually, they did.
And then the Turkish
That's where the
invaded-
Wahhabis came from. That was their Reformation.
No, that was the second Reformation. They had a Reformation in the 9th century
Yeah.
where they tore up the original Quran. The original handwritten Quran was torn up and burnt because it was tainted by it. Because Muhammad was a Jew. Muhammad's wife was a Jew. What the religion Muhammad preached had nothing to do with Islam. This is what they don't get. He was preaching Christianity, not Islam. Islam was created in the 9th century.
Yeah.
That was the first Reformation. Then the Turks came and turned it into and tore out a lot of stuff and turned it into took all the Christianity, what was left of Christianity out of it,
Yeah.
and they created what today you would term as a barracks religion.
I see a thing where
very
like
simple.
references to
religion.
Mecca, Medina. It's like actually it really was talking about places a lot further north into like Syria and Lebanon. It's like Saudi Arabia had nothing to do with it. They just took their actual locations. Well, no, we moved this south to get it out of there. So Mecca, Medina. Usually that's nothing.
Mecca is where Muhammad fled after the failed revolution. You know, and his fanatical followers took over the town and started executing people, and that's and things fell apart. But because he was an old broken man by then, he had no control over his followers anymore. This is what happens when you create a religion where that starts as its core tenet, we're superior because of this religion. Because individually, on their own, they are weak cowards. This is what happens with mob mentality. It stripped the individuality and shoved people into a mob. But then they had a reformation, and suddenly Islam turned back to its roots.
Yeah.
But then came the Turk, and the Turk tore out what was left of Christianity from the Middle East. And the thing is, the irony is that's how Christianity came to Europe. That's how the Reformation started in Europe. All the scholars who were Greek and Roman, or descendants of Greeks and Romans, they fled because the Muslims and the Mongols got together and were, what they were doing, don't you?
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to mention that history.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to mention. It's a crime. If you mention the Reformation of Islam in Saudi Arabia, it's a death penalty.
Yeah.
If you mention Muhammad was a Jew, that's the death penalty for insulting Islam.
Yeah.
If you say Aisha was a Jew in Saudi Arabia, the death penalty, even though their own book says it.
The point at the fact she was also 9.
No, you're not allowed to point that out.
Yeah.
No. He met her at 9 is the new translation.
Still not acceptable. It's not any better.
Oh,
You're waiting until she's 12. Oh, wait until she's 12. That somehow makes it not. No, sorry, it's still confirmed.
Oh, and guess what?
Like they didn't marry that young.
Daughter.
Okay? Yeah.
But they also leave out the fact that it was his sister's daughter.
Oh, even better.
Hey!
Keep it in the family. Yeah.
So anybody who says that, and again, there are Muslim scholars out there that says anybody who knows the real Islam, please show me, because all but few, there are over 1,000 texts, different interpretations, different. They have rewritten that book so many times, and most will be put into fiction.
And none of it's in chronological order. It's all over the damn place.
Yeah, because the Turks, when they came along, they were only cared about turning it into a barracks religion for men, to basically give men a cause. Because you give men a cause and put them in the barracks, the next thing you're going to give them is swords.
Yeah. It's like, the hijab and everything. That's not an
what the hijab was? To hide white slaves.
Yeah, and that is, it's from the Ottoman Turks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much of it is strictly Ottoman Turk stuff. It's tribalism stuff. It has nothing to do with Islam itself.
No.
Which is not necessarily any great shakes to begin with, but it's like, get all the stuff on top of it. It's just an excuse to.
2/3 of the modern book was written by Salid. Salid was not a Muslim. He was a Turk. He was a warlord. No, there's like, what is it? 3 centuries between them. So what did Muhammad say? There's no prophet that comes after me. Then every book by Salid should be forbidden because Salid was not Muhammad's brother. He was not born in the same year, let alone the same century, not even the same era.
So all these idiots saying Jesus was a Palestinian.
No, that's a modern.
Yeah,
no, he wasn't. He was born in Bethlehem.
He's a Nazarene.
Palestinian in a land swap for peace.
He's a Nazarene Jew. It's God damn it.
Actually, and his mother was Assyrian. So
yeah. Like, look on a map sometime where Bethlehem, Nazareth.
But I'm just saying, where he was born in Bethlehem became Palestinian because of a land swap deal.
Yeah, in the 1960s or the 40s when they established the modern state. So, yeah, even then.
I love all these people who say, "Oh, they deport Jesus because he was a legal migrant." No, he was a Roman citizen. He was invited to Rome. He wasn't killed by the Romans. He was killed by the Anastasi, who hated the Nazarene.
What is up, good people?
Oh, we're going
Yeah,
way
yeah.
off the rails here now. We're waiting for
We were in your
Get back here and
territory
do
earlier
something here.
about the Tate brothers.
What are we talking about?
just
Well-
about anything under the sun, especially since Rosetta left. Now the safeguards are off.
We were in your territory earlier talking about the fanatics who have infiltrated MGTOW
Yeah.
like the Tates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got some
Actually-
infiltrators in our philosophy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right now, we're just actually kind of waiting for anime to get back in here to decide whether we're going to keep it going or not. Because in other activities, Raquel is about ready to start up her Fortnite stream, and we're going to get in there and try and get her leveled up here.
Anytime you have something like this that you can find money in, you're always going to have people that are bad faith actors that,
Oh yeah.
that will grift it and find a business model off of it, and they're always, unfortunately, going to be who most people look at as the main example of what you're doing because they get the most attention.
Because
Well-
the mainstream thrives on attention, not fact.
Right.
Well,
There you
follow the money is not something that just dreamed up at Watergate. The tale as old as time.
Yep. There you go.
Look, I don't prescribe to conspiracy theories that Nixon was set up.
Mhm.
Because I actually read a book by the guy who did it,
Yeah.
who conspired with McNamara, became Nixon's private secretary, didn't pass through phone calls from Martin Luther King warning him about the FBI, didn't pass on phone calls about Vietnam warning about the and then we've held evidence that he could have used against JFK for election rigging in Chicago, but when Nixon
Oh
found out
God,
later,
yeah.
he said, "No, I won't launch this case. It'll tear America apart."
Mm-hmm.
But America should have learnt there and then. But that's why they got rid of it, because the establishment was worried.
Yeah.
Okay, he was starting to learn things,
Mm-hmm.
and his secretary was telling them, "Oh, he knows about." See, this is what a lot of Americans don't understand. Do you know what the last few years of the Vietnam War was with LBJ? They wanted to capture an SA-6 intact.
Yeah.
I've been to Vietnam. My wife's parents were organizers for the rubber union in that era. Okay, her grandparents were her uncle fought for the North Vietnamese army, and they were telling me that they were losing, but then the Americans withdrew, and they won, and
That's a
they were winning. Okay, people were convincing Nixon that we were losing. What's his name? Walter Cronkite was a traitor. He got $100,000 from the Russian ambassador to tell lies on ABC. You know what $100,000
Or CBS,
was like in
yeah.
the 60s or 60s, CBS, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the tide has turned against them. Was the Tet Offensive. We technically won the Tet Offensive.
We won.
The Viet Cong ceased to exist as an entity after Tet because they shot their wad and we held our own.
But then what we do, we withdrew. But here's another thing that they won't tell you about the Vietnam War. How many troops did they send?
I
Oh
don't know.
God, there was.
It was ridiculous. Yeah.
They sent over 1 million.
Mhm.
How many were in combat at any one time? The peak was the Tet Offensive, 110,000.
Yeah.
Most troops, you know why you hardly see any Vietnam vets? Because most who went to Vietnam didn't fight
Oh yeah. Because
and got kicked out of the army.
I wouldn't have been. I would have been working admin. I've been processing orders back on mobility lines.
Yeah. That's why Nixon, he was going to shut down the Pentagon. When he shut down the Vietnam War, he was going to shut down the Pentagon and send all the men back to combat training.
Mm.
And the CIA said no. And then when he found out about the fact that the CIA were running their own war and then abandoned their own people in Vietnam, he was gonna charge the CIA Hellman that for desertion because they were winning. He found out they were winning, not losing. And the establishment couldn't have that because their only cause for the last couple of years of the Vietnam War was to grab hold of an SA-6 so that America could finally have air defense missiles. They had no intention of winning the Vietnam War. It was all to grab Russian technology.
There's also stuff,
because they were worried.
and payback. They wanted to get Nixon for payback for Alger Hiss back in the 40s.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of bullshit going on.
Yeah, there was all kinds of people. It's the same when they killed JFK. There's no one reason why they killed JFK.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that you can guarantee: every single member of the Warren Commission, their wives had either been with the president or were going to be with the president.
Yeah.
Because they would take the wives' club it was known as the wives' club, and there were like 50 of them. The Speaker in the House, a lot of all their wives, and some of these women were in their 60s, and they were going to the White House to have sex with the president.
Yeah. Like I said, I think when they released all the files, like there was no big mighty smoky gun. There was no identification. So it's like it kind of follows what I figured. No, it was Oswald by himself with taking the shot because the rifle was much better than. I think what happened though is like certain people backed off and let it happen.
No.
But they could have picked up Oswald 6-7 different ways because
Oswald
he
was following orders. Yeah. But he figured out and told his wife that they were setting him up that he's a patsy and asked what should he do. But then there was a knock at the door. They were being listened to. They had moved. They thought they were safe. They moved. They had a conversation. She was supposed to take him to the Russian embassy. There was a knock at the door. The FBI had been listening, and they took him away, and she'd never seen him again. And then the next thing you know, 2 weeks later, there he is in the book depository, shitting his pants because his handlers had just left. He looks out the window, sees that there's a policeman downstairs, so he goes back to the lunchroom. He's trying to escape, and that is when they arrest him. He had no idea the president had been shot, but he knew for 2 weeks, shit his pants, waiting to try and escape them.
No, I'm not going with that because they got partial prints of his on that rifle, and they published the route in the paper. And he knew it was going right by his place.
But all I'm saying is that there are also plausible explanations and questionable statements. And the fact that he was being guarded by the FBI, the fact that he was part of this Cuban group, a cutout for the CIA that was later abandoned when, what was it? Something happened in Panama and that it got all the way to LBJ and he said, no, the Russians know about the Cubans. We've got to pull the plug on this. And the CIA had, the Bay of Pigs invasion went ahead against orders. And then blamed Nixon and LBJ and all the others for not backing them up. Nixon had no power, but you know what I mean, right?
No, it was under Kennedy because it was originally approved under Eisenhower.
It was originally.
And I think it was Kennedy, and Kennedy wouldn't allow the air support. I think because that would have. I think is afraid if it goes wrong, we're really tied in. Yeah.
There's also those who said that they went ahead against Helms' advice. Here, Helms said to them, the Russians know, do you still want to go ahead? And they said, yes. And he says, you got no air support. And he says, you just go talk to Kennedy. We got the goods on him. Go to... And that's when I think they spilt the beans and told Helm, you want the goods on Kennedy? Go ask your wife. And that, boom, that fucker's dead.
But yeah, it's like, again, because Gerald Posner put out a book years ago, Case Closed, where it's like, and he goes through, okay, let's strip away all the things. Let's look at what evidence we have of the site, empirical, the gun, and the witness, and again, we got the receipt for the damn rifle. He
Yeah.
took pictures of himself with it, and then the pictures. Well, it was fake. Well, he's got other pictures. Multiple pictures. And it's like, yeah, that's just the best one they picked. They picked that thing.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah,
they
and,
leave
but-
out the fact that it was a beauty con. They leave out the fact
Mhm.
that he was a CIA. What do you call it? Knock. Not
Well, I
official
don't know
cover.
about that. He was, I don't know about that, but they was definitely on their radar, though. There's 6 of them ways they could have picked him up if they wanted to, because he had
No,
tried
he
it
was
again.
working for,
He
he
had
was
tried
working
to
for
Yeah.
an organization
Mhm.
that had been put together by
Mhm.
Helms. It wasn't an official CIA operation.
Well,
it
it never
was put
is.
together by Helms. It was run through the same foundations they set up through Howard Hughes.
I don't think the CIA ever had an official operation. Come on, everything's
Yeah.
an official.
And
Well, we don't
and
do
the
anything
money-
except file papers.
And they were using the mafia to launder the money through the
Yeah.
organization to
Mhm.
pay
Yeah.
the members.
Yeah.
They allegedly fundraised, their own.
Yeah.
It's like the communists today. They allegedly fundraise. They're not
Yeah.
funded by China. It's all
Mhm.
small donations through virtual credit cards
Yeah,
from Cayman Island banks.
but yeah, but let's say that's like I think it's more like they just allowed it to happen because they had the Secret
No,
Service.
I'm not
was-
saying that.
the Secret
I'm
Service
not
is
saying
largely incompetent.
everybody
It's like the FBI and the CIA were not talking to each other, and it's like they really weren't exactly buddy because J. Edgar Hoover was still running the place like his own private
pretty
goon
big
squad.
elephant in the room, and I don't mean Rosie O'Donnell or Lizzo,
Yeah.
but people
Mhm.
forget that J. Edgar Hoover was the CIA director. Nobody
He's
could
FBI.
make It.
He's FBI.
FBI.
He
Oh.
ran that place like his own private goon squad from the
Yes.
time he founded.
And they were
Not
so
even
scared. They were
Everything.
so scared of him.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do anything. Oh,
Yeah.
well, what about the CIA? Oh, sorry.
The
They had-
CIA,
The CIA, won't make
was
any
a
better.
rogue
Yeah.
operation. Okay, they
Mhm.
collaborated with some. They took Nazi war criminals out and gave them new identities by laundering them
Mhm.
through Argentina and Brazil.
Mhm.
They had let some big Nazis off because they had because they paid bars of gold to walk out of Dachau prison. They
good
some
red-
of them.
Good red-blooded
The
American
SS
man like Werner von Braun. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Mhm.
The entire German spy service went from wearing black uniforms to wearing yellow uniforms to working for the CIA.
Mhm.
They just
Yeah.
changed sides. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't. The American people
Mhm.
know is pretty much a fabrication of
Mhm.
Norman Rockwell paintings and 1960s propaganda.
Yeah.
The Kennedys were paper tigers.
Mhm.
RFK doesn't want to see the reality of his grandfather. That's
Mhm.
fine. A lot of everybody's like that. I think nobody's family
Oh,
was mafia, right?
Joe
It never
Kennedy was
existed.
Joe Kennedy was a disgrace. He was a bootlegger. Forget. That's how they got
But-
the money. He was bootlegging during Prohibition.
No, but he owned it. He owned a warehouse, and lots of friendly men hired it.
Mhm.
Always gave him
But,
candy
yeah,
as a kid.
But it's like, how for all I know, my dad and Lee Oswald may have been counting because he was doing the fair play for Cuba. He was a known loudmouth and a belligerent.
I'm not
And again,
saying that he's
and he
entirely
tried
innocent.
to shoot. It was a real, a retired general conservative loudmouth,
Yeah.
and he
That's why
tried
he
to
was
shoot, and he
pissed.
tried to shoot. Then he didn't quite. He hit the windowsill
Yeah, but
about-
that's why he was
about a
picked.
month,
You know.
because he's dumb enough to do it.
Yeah.
But like I
That's
said,
right.
I think it's more like just they didn't necessarily pick him. He was dumb enough. He was going that direction anyway.
Yeah.
Because he said, and even Posner said, the mafia's fingerprints are all over this up until the day of the assassination.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like,
Because,
they knew him. He was a danger, and they could have picked him up 6 weeks from Tuesday.
Yeah.
But
They had
they
him-
let it happen. They let
Yeah.
it play out.
The FBI let it happen. The Secret
Perfect,
Service
plausible
was-
deniability. Oh, we had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
This is a lone nut.
and the vice president picking them out, picking the Secret Service,
Mhm.
taking the cover off the everything was put in place by LBJ. So
And that is kind of a weird route. Okay.
yeah,
Because we got one long time ago when we were on vacation with my folks, so we were in the Dallas area. It's like that, found this in Fort Worth, but drove that route on Daily Plaza.
yeah.
Would have been better if we were in a
But that's
convertible
right.
so we could look around. We were in a regular hardtop, so not very impressive.
But don't forget
Mhm.
the fact that
Mhm.
they covered up the fact that there were two other sets of bullets. They were, they could
I
not.
don't know. Yeah, that's sort of after the thing because anything of the site don't know one bullet would and I've seen a thing where they essentially duplicated the magic bullet. It's not that far fetched. You can duplicate it. You get the angle right, and that because the guy had
No, I'm not saying
same
you
model
should put
rifle
any-
with. He had a same model rifle, and actually they kind of got lucky and they found some bullets from the very same batch that Oswald used because there was something. The metallurgical thing was a little weird. These things didn't quite coalesce right, so they had the exact same type of bullets that Oswald used in every way. The same kind of weird thing. Anything to put out.
I'm
afterwards,
not saying
same
that
thing.
fiction. I'm not saying that fact isn't stranger than fiction, and
Yeah.
that bullets can. I'm just saying
Mhm.
that the two unaccounted for shell fragments were never taken into consideration.
Mhm.
Were removed from the final report, and that
Mhm.
screams set two other bullets that he couldn't have fired.
I don't know where because the thing is all the wounds lines up to right straight back to the school book depository.
No,
Because they go through this thing I saw where they do it,
not the original report.
where they
The original
originally
report is contradictory.
again I'm talking about just result because these guys go through every conspiracy theory in
Yeah,
this special, and they second shooter, the grassy knoll, over the railroad bridge. They've got pictures of the day. There's people all along. There's no way in hell somebody's going to pull out a rifle without 15 people jumping on his ass immediately because they're out in the open. Grassy knoll. That shot is going to go through. Kenny said the thing and hit Jackie. That's going to be a through and through, and there'd be two dead people. That didn't happen.
no.
And seeing the offense,
Grassy Knoll theory.
and bam,
The Grassy Knoll theory has been actually. They think the person on the Grassy Knoll was a photographer, and that there was no shot. I obviously saw a different one than you did, but this guy who was going through it said that that he's not clearing Oswald. He's not clearing anybody. He is saying that there's more people involved than just Oswald. But there are things such as the Grassy Knoll, which were created by people seeing somebody up there pointing, but it turned out to be a long-range camera. But because it came from the FBI, they didn't trust the information. So that's how the Grassy Knoll was born.
And also, all the eyewitness accounts at the time is like the only way they heard shots was back from that. In fact, they had people on the 5th floor.
Yeah.
Heard the shot, heard the shell casings hit on the floor, and they're pointing, "Hey, up here! The guy's up here!"
But when you have a reporter who visits the site, says, "I found something," 2 hours later she's murdered. You have multiple witnesses who said, "I heard a second shot," and they didn't, and they closed the testimony. They turned off the camera.
Yeah,
that's again where the Grassy Knoll theory comes from.
Hold on, I'm being yelled at.
There's no idea what they were pointing at.
Wait a goddamn minute!
But there's no idea what they were pointing at on the map because they were doing this. They weren't on camera. There was so much wrong with the Warren Commission. There's just so much wrong with the Warren Commission that everybody was afraid of pulling back and pointing to any one of them and saying, "You killed him because he effed your wife," So the cover-up, well, the only person who didn't have a wife to F was Hoover because he was gay. But, the cover-up, I think, is worse than the actual, that's the big crime.
Yeah, the cover up is probably the worst thing to come out of all of this because it goes to show how on one hand they thought they could get away with it, but they didn't account for the fact that there was so many people and so many witnesses and they got sloppy. They got sloppy over time.
But the shooters, i.e. multiple shooters, in in later life all confessed to their involvement. They all confessed proudly that they shot, that they called Kennedy a snake in the grass and a traitor. But they never said what he did to earn their ire.
Exactly. Well, to us American people, they never told us like why is this even that flyer that's like wanted for treason type thing. You can't tell me that is like blatant. And he's saying, "What's up, Rexus?" You can't
Hello.
tell me. You can't tell me any sane person would look at it, be like, "This is a load of shit." The man is doing something right for once, and you guys are smearing him with baseless accusations. We the American people, we're fine with what he's doing. He's bringing us out of war and everything in between, all the qualities of life, and trying to actually get the civil rights thing going,
Exactly.
and actually willing to talk with Martin Luther King and everything.
Okay, look at every president who's been assassinated.
The
or
Civil
attempted
Rights Act
assassinated.
was a big old load of bullshit.
Yeah, but you look at every president who's been assassinated or attempted
Riggs.
assassination, and all of them
Riga?
have gone against the establishment.
Exactly. I mean, look at Abe Lincoln. Once he knew that Civil War was over, he was over.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln.
Well, which is tragic because I can't think of a president that lived during the times of peace. We haven't had a peacetime president.
He knew his likelihood of being reelected was very slim, and if he wasn't assassinated, he was most likely going to lose the election because a lot of people were dissatisfied. They preferred that he had signed a peace deal, a year earlier, not gone for total victory.
Abe Lincoln was one of the most racist presidents we ever had.
He did nothing to free the slaves in the North, which by the way, 30% of the population in the North owned slaves, whilst 20% in the South owned slaves. 10% more of the North owned slaves.
But then again, racism has always been a political tool.
Oh, it's a political tool today, except it's just now racism against whites. It's like the anti-Christian hysteria in the 60s, that white Christian nationalists in the 60s and race war. It wasn't the white Christian nationalists who wanted slavery. The white Christian nationalists wanted an end to slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And the white
Christian there's a reason why. To be honest, there's no point in them fighting those labels anymore. I mean, I've learned this. There's a reason why I just pretty much accepted the label that has been tied to me for a while. The whole entire Newtsy one.
Yeah. Did not see anything. I did not see anything party.
Well, have any of you guys ever read, was it what was that guy's name? What was that book that we reviewed the other night, Rex's Calgary's Plan of Idealism?
The Calgary's,
yes. Calgary.
Yeah, that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That spells out what's happening. The erasure of the white race.
Mm.
Yeah, the Calgary Plan was put together 117 years ago.
Yep.
And he wrote a letter to the president warning them. It was actually to Lincoln, wasn't it?
117.
Was it Lincoln or
That
there was a letter written and published?
Well, 117. Again, we're talking 19. Let's see, 100 is 1925.
It was about the turn of. It was about I believe it was the early 1900s. And
I think that'd be Teddy Roosevelt. That'd be Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, right. Mm. But they wrote to the president saying since the assassination of Lincoln, there has been a plot to plunge war into Europe and erase Christianity and the white race, and America must step in and prevent this war. Otherwise, it'll be catastrophe for the world.
Mhm.
And I think it was Wilson, and he said, and he just filed it.
Mm.
I think it got through. It didn't get through to the president or something. I think either it was Roosevelt or Wilson were cabinet or vice cabinet positions. They were anyway. They were vetting the mail, and they later became president. They kept hold of this letter, and they basically did a deal to create this war in Europe, so that the United States would become the supreme power. You saw how that's worked out for you. You know, you basically destroyed the British Empire to become the British Empire. But people don't understand. You don't have to tell everybody a conspiracy. All you have to do is get enough people together, like the Eugenics Society, come up with the baby steps you need to change society, and then you just take over the key fundamentals of communications and education and indoctrinate enough people into radicalism, and you've destroyed society. Because remember, the left's goal isn't to build, it's to destroy.
Yeah, there's a reason why that. Yeah, there's a reason why that little symbol that they all wear, the peace symbol. There's one thing that many of them deny.
Known as? It's actually used to be known as the dead as the it was known once as the Peter's Cross. It was it's the upside down hangman. And it was put on Peter when it was hung by the Romans.
Yep, and in Norse religion, it was called the Jörun, and Jör in Old Norse translates to death.
Yes. Yeah, it's the symbol of destruction, basically.
Yep, and it also doesn't surprise me that the Nazis, who were socialists, wore the black Ba'atita, which in Hinduism represented death and destruction.
Well, that's not surprised because they had the inverted symbol of life, which is the symbol of death.
Yep.
Yeah. But everything about them, and you go, wait a minute. If you look deep enough, you'll find out that one of the key Yazis who disappeared. You know why they don't show all the films or all the information? There was a black Nazi. Did you know that? There were lots of Jewish Nazis. There were Indians.
Yeah.
One of the key.
Yeah.
One of Hitler's friends.
There was also a Muslim group. There were also Muslim ones. Like there's a reason why one of the people I know claimed that the whole entire Holocaust thing was really in actuality an entire Slavocaust.
Yeah, the Slavs were divided into communists and socialists, and the socialists sided with Hitler, and the communists sided with Stalin, and they were killing each other in Ukraine from 1917 until 1935. The death toll was in the millions.
Oh, it wasn't just. It wasn't in 1945. It was actually 1954 once you take into account
before the war.
of the.
Ukraine,
I know, but it ended. Yep, but it ended after the war as well because there was a group called the OUN-B, Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists Bandera, Stepan Bandera, and of course he's still celebrated in Ukraine, but still they led a war from 1945 to 1954 that killed about 300,000 people.
Which is small compared to how many he killed during the war, but yes. Yeah, they were funded by Helms. Like I said earlier about Helms and his deal with the Nothing to See Here party.
Yep.
You know where But you know, Banderas' granddaughter is in Canada.
Huh?
Her name is
Doesn't
Frida.
surprise me. Yep,
Victoria
and of course,
Nuland is a Ukrainian Jew.
yep, and then there was Volhynia. That there was actually a recorded account of of him a step on hacking a boy's head in that region with an axe.
Yeah. But the thing is, there is no such ethnicity as Ukrainian. It's a language,
Yep, that's true.
but there's no ethnicity. There's no ethnicity that is Ukrainian.
Yep.
It is a Slavic
Yep,
people.
well, most of
mostly
the
predominantly
Western-
Russian.
Oh yeah, but most of the Eastern quote Ukrainians are just ethnic Russians, and of course, most of the Western ones, if you ask me,
Are a
are
mix of
are just
Poles.
far more closer to Poles. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of them are mixed with Poles, but they're not a race. They're a mix of Romanians and Poles. And
Same as
Russians.
Russians.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Russians.
Yep.
There's very few ethnic Russians. Ethnic Russians are a minority. Most of them are descendants of Mongols.
Yep. Same as Swedes.
Yeah, most Swedes, half of Sweden is I forget, is it Norwegian or Danish? Every,
Danish
I-
and probably Norwegian.
yeah, but they're not. Yeah, I know that at one point they were roughly evenly mixed, but Swedes have been in decline because the women refuse to have kids, and it's like, yeah, you know, like you complain of who's going to look after you in old age. We'll bring in migrants to do it, you know, because you know that's what these, you know. This is what I was saying about the tyranny of safety before. You know about the tyranny of safety, don't you? Taking the easy
The tyranny
way
of safety. I think I haven't heard that, but I think it's been in many
obsession. You know, when
films.
women, the tyranny of safety is where women form a group in order to protect each other, and they form these weird covens and these weird pacts with each other, and they won't have children, they won't have men, you know, because they fear that somebody's going to assault them, or they fear all the worst in society happening to them.
Oh, feminism.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's born out of the tyranny of safety, right?
Meanwhile, the poor little immigrants they bring in to do the dirty work for them breed like fucking rabbits, and guess what? Suddenly you're a minority in your own country.
But that's when you get the racism of low expectation.
Yeah.
Because and Marx let the cat out of the bag when he said all of this is a construct of Marx did not create Marxism. All he did was put it to paper. See, the conspiracy only has to spread bad ideas. It's called winning by default. When your enemy is powerful, you undermine them, you know? And when you take power, you destroy free speech so that you can't be undermined. Look at how Mao emptied the jails and set the criminals against the shop owners. And then once society collapsed, he killed all the criminals.
Well, he's the hero. He saved you from all these rampant criminals you let loose in the first place.
Just like Venezuela, just like Cuba, just like that's what they did in California. Remember how they released every election? They released all the criminals.
And they're trying it in Britain, and they're trying it here.
Yeah. And because America is addicted to liberal democracy, you let it happen.
Yeah, I know. There's a reason why most of the people who I know are quote unquote radicals are more along the lines of a monarchist, and that's because, well, monarchism actually does a fucking thing or two. It is actually successful.
Yeah. That's why they want to get rid of all of them. All the, that's why they wanted to get rid of, That's why they created this system of professional politicians, to basically people need an idol, but they create false ones like Taylor Swift.
I fucking hate that bitch.
Yeah. But see, that's what I mean. You don't need a large rebel group anymore. You just take the rebels. Every rebel movie in the 60s used to have you taking over the radio station. Well, but the thing is, the laugh was on us because they abandoned radio for TV, and the right moved in, and still to this day controls the radio stations in the US. Howard Stern and a few others may have their little FMs, but what's their audience now? A few thousand?
I think so.
But I'm basically saying there were answers, but the problem is every group you create gets infiltrated by fanatics who run it into the ground. The best answer to the left is an army of one. You basically, you have your MGTOWs, you have your all of them, right? You don't try to convert anybody to anything other than not being the left.
To be honest, I do embrace gatekeeping, and there isn't another thing that's also keeping us from winning. Most of the quote unquote conservatives and Republicans of today aren't really that. They aren't really true conservative or Republicans.
Well, you've got to understand, in these last days, the people in your government have all joined. They're all tyrannical. They're all on the same cause at this point. They're just masquerading as different ideologies.
Yes, the Uni Party.
Yep.
Yes.
And when there is an actual third option, it's just labeled as extremism.
Or they get assassinated and smeared like Nixon.
Yep.
Or they go to war against you like Saddam or Gaddafi or that little mustache man who dared go against the World Bank.
or the Confederacy.
Oh, actually the Confederacy was the World Bank. But
no,
look at who the vice president. Look at the vice president. Again, the Confederacy started off in a good place, but they got infiltrated. Look at who was funding the Confederacy, and that's what happens that's what happens to every movement. Look at early republicanism. All they did was get all former anybody who wasn't a Democrat at the time to run. They didn't have a Republican Party. They didn't have an idea to be anything other than the not Democrat Party. And a lot of Republicans today are still the same thing. They're still just the not Democrat Party.
What's happening in politics right now? You've got people who have become uniparty propagandists.
Go along, pragmatists.
Yes. And so what's happening is you don't have true Republicans or true Democrats, liberals, progressives, or any of that anymore. You have activists, political propagandists that are masquerading as the labels that we all know in politics.
Yeah.
And so what's happening on the culture is a massive psyop that's grabbed your education system, it's grabbed your religious system, it's grabbed everything, and it's teaching people to go in a certain direction.
You only have to have the leadership. You only have to have the communication and education.
There you go.
What education produces the politics? You control Harvard, and Georgetown. You control half the politicians because they all go through because half of them because of this corrupt system and nepotism.
Yeah, the same people that co-opt your education, that co-opt your politics, are the same people that owns your food supply, your water supply, your medicine supply, your every bit of it, your banking system.
Shut up! You're being anti-Semitic. BlackRock is not a conspiracy.
Yep. The same people
It would
controls all
actually
of
be
it.
more along the lines of. It would actually be more along the lines of the phrase "anti-Jewish." Once you know what the phrase Semite actually means, you
Mm.
know, an entire ethnic group.
I know.
Think of Syrians, Arabs, Palestinians,
thing
Egyptians,
who are the
Libyans, you
biggest?
name it.
Hold on. Who are the biggest anti-Semites? The Jews. Who hates Syrians? Who hates Syrians more than Israel? Who hates Lebanese more than Israel?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Who hates the? Who hates? I think. But of course, then you have the secret alliance that's been going on since forever. That the Turks and Saudis helped create Israel to try and to create a counterbalance against Iran, who at the time was actually good friends with the US until Carter and his idiocracy.
Yep.
But again, it all comes back to the fact that you created this secret organization, gave them billions of dollars, gave them carte blanche to work with organized crime. And organized crime went from on its knees in prison to one of the most powerful secret societies in the world.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You think Ukraine really smuggled 4,000 drones into Russia without the help of organized crime?
No.
Those trucks went through certain countries. Are any of those countries complaining that they were used to transit weapons illegally?
Well,
No.
again, the Ukrainian government is as corrupt as the Russian government, just to get, because the Russians got a bigger army.
Mhm.
Exactly. And you think destroying 40 bombers actually, are they destroyed? There's no evidence.
Mhm.
They did.
Yeah.
How many
but-
times? I've covered this war. How many times has the media lied about this war? Remember the big offensive they had in
Many
22?
times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Many times
they've been caught
they've lied about. They've lied about everything. They lied about Azov. They lied about Rights Hector C-14. All the three of which are Nazi groups, by the way. They lied
Yeah.
about the 1,400 to 15. No wait, the 14,000 to 15,000 Russians who were
news
killed
story.
by those groups.
Hold on.
To 250 of which were children.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Every Al Jazeera story says a Russian drone hit Ukraine today and killed a woman and child. You're telling me every drone they fire only hit women and children? Yes, says Al Jazeera. That is correct. Russians are targeting civilians deliberately and they never hit a military target.
Just happen to
They
stand in
show
front of
us-
an armored personnel carrier.
But they won't. Yeah, they show us a building on fire, and my first question is, where's it? That looks like that on the outside looks like a civilian building, but where's the office furniture?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Where's
And
the,
they-
why's there
and
office
they all
furniture? Why
covered
is there
up-
no beds?
they all covered up the existence of Poroshenko, Ukraine's previous president, who was, by the way, caught doing quote unquote Roman salutes
Yeah,
during his time in power.
Yeah.
yeah. Now
Well,
they want to charge.
I'm gonna go ahead and bail out here, guys. So I'm gonna,
Sorry,
all right. So
go ahead, Bob.
have fun there. I'm gonna go and bail. So,
Yep.
Yeah, but
All right.
they charged the former president with desertion for leaving the country.
Mm-hmm.
This is how
Yep,
stupid
and-
and corrupt Zelensky has killed, killed or had killed, or charged with felonies.
I want to
every
say.
opposition leader. That's the.
I want to
that's-
say. I want to say it about Zelensky, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to risk getting Knight's channel banned.
Yeah.
But let's just say Zelensky is a bit of a F word.
a bit. Yeah, he's a Yeah, he's Bella Ramsey on steroids.
Mm.
Okay,
Yep.
you look at his old videos in Euclid now, and you say definitely he's been to the Andrew Tate School of Bodybuilding.
Yep.
He likes his rectal testosterone raw.
Yep.
That guy,
You know,
he's got a nose itch worse than Hunter Biden.
you know what? Since that we're talking about something and I'm on here, time to talk about something a bit less political, but
Yeah, go ahead.
but I've had it for a while, and of course,
Yeah.
Anime Night kind of knows about it. It would be my Midnight Angel story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, I'm currently on page 4. Currently thinking of doing page 5, but so far the Midnight Angel character, he's about 5'3" in height. He has 10 wings, and he has ashen black skin. That will be an important detail said later on in the story. And he has red eyes, and he has red tattoos. One of which on his right pec is the Nordic sun wheel. On his back, it is the Slavic hands of God symbol, and on the right side of his face, it is the Kolovrat. And he's fighting a war against 13 knights, all of which are called the Cannibal Knights. And he is currently going on his quest of revenge, killing them all, and in trying to get back home to our planet because, well, the story is called Kurja. Yes, that's the actual name of it. Just dropped the name. And yeah, that's so far pretty much it. I don't want to drop anything else other than that.
Yep.
Hey, look. South Africa's first black-owned bank has collapsed. Lauded as the first bank in South Africa being totally owned and managed by Africans has collapsed after the owners stole all the cash, bribed government officials to deposit more money to keep their operations going for years.
I utterly fucking hate Mandela. He started the whole entire anti-Afrikaner narrative in that country, and he was also a member of the South African Communist Party.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a trained Marxist who was, it was a trained Marxist. But the thing is, hate and nationalism are powerful tools, which is why they're attacking white nationalism while advancing black nationalism. And if you remember, in the Confederacy, it was originally a Christian nation who was then touted as a slave nation by the slave owners, who was Roosevelt and others, who then went to the North after they finished looting the Confederacy because it was economically unsustainable. And the Confederacy, in its desperation to try and maintain its economy, started raiding cattle in Missouri, which was their downfall, which gave Lincoln the provocation for war.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whether it was ordered by the government doesn't matter. Once those Missouri Raiders crossed the border, that was it. They were in uniform.
The South had an economy that was separate from the North, and they wanted to keep it and maintain it, and the North wanted it because they were trying to monopolize the entire country at that time.
Yes. But don't forget, the South's economy was unsustainable. Okay, the white farmers were going broke because they couldn't compete with the slave owners.
Mm-hmm.
the president of the Confederacy, there is a letter to, I think, Napoleon III asking for help to basically, and the reply was to get rid of the slaves, and we can resume support, but not until you get rid of the slaves. And the Roosevelts and others, you look it up, all the top 10 slave owners.
Yep. Some of them were black.
Yeah, actually, one was a black. Number one was a black woman, Oprah's great grandmother, or was it? No, not Oprah. Sonny Austin.
Yep. Everyone forgets the fact that Frederick Douglass
But one of them
bought
was
and owned
an
slaves
Indian.
after he was freed.
Yeah, but another supporter of the South, who was a slave owner, was Kamala's great grandfather,
Yeah.
and he was
Yep.
black.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And people always forget that the South is a poor part of the country, meaning most people didn't own them.
The
There was
majority who owned slaves were not white.
Mm-hmm.
The
What was it,
majority
like
of slaves were owned by a handful of people. Yes, there were a lot of slave owners, but they only
Right.
owned a slave. But the majority of slaves
Yeah.
were owned by a few. One
I think-
woman, Sonny Austin's great-grandmother, owned 428 slaves, and she had a huge plantation that she inherited.
Mm-hmm. I think I read at the total population at the time, what was it, like 1% of the entire South was plantation owners, slave
Yeah.
owners. Yeah.
Yeah, the 1% owned the majority of slaves.
Yeah.
The
Look at,
majority of slaves were multi-generational.
mm-hmm.
Now, there were 4.5 million in the South, I believe. And this is the thing. The population of the South wasn't that much bigger. Okay? The white farmers were going broke. And I think I read somewhere that 30% lost their only son. They had lots of daughters, but no sons. They were 30% of the white population was exterminated in that war.
Interesting.
And then you look at Europe and World War I and World War II. You look at every other war in history. It's only a few thousand soldiers, and it's only over a border, not an entire country.
Yeah.
Okay, big wars are were pretty rare. Okay, Rome lost more wars than it won. That's why it collapsed. And you look at America's history. America's tried economic domination, and look what it's got you: trillions in debt.
Yeah.
But you know who owes more? China. America's no longer number one in debt. It's China. But China's falsely reporting their figures. They just printed more money and wiped out 22 trillion.
Yeah.
They basically just wiped it out. 22 trillion in debt because it was internal. That means people won't get. That means no pension. That means no money for their pension funds in 20 years' time.
Oh God.
Xi's heading China to a collapse on purpose. What did Roosevelt do when he was president? He collapsed the economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got World War II. How did America build all those warships? With labor for $1 a day. What is China doing? Building warships for $1 a day.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You look at the South. The South would have been fine if they didn't have the slaves. They would have taken over the North. But because they had slaves, 30% of their economy collapsed within a few years and turned to cattle rustling. Had that not happened, the cattle economy would have boomed, but cotton was on its way out already.
Yep.
Okay, the price of cotton was falling. More and more countries were producing cotton. More and more countries were producing rice. Then you had the Great Dust Bowl. So nature was already going to fuck over the farmers. It was just a matter, it was just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
The South killed itself.
Yeah, sad but true.
Okay, had they stuck to states' rights, had they accepted the election loss to Lincoln, they would have got him the second time round, and the Democrats would have been the Republican Party of the day. Had they not gone into debt and went with the banking establishment, who also owned the slaves. And to this day, the Roosevelts have over $1 trillion in private trust thanks to slavery. You want reparations? There's the money from slavery right there, the Roosevelt Trust.
Yeah, but you, all three of you on this panel, you know where that's going to come from. In modern times, think modern times. Yeah, think modern times. It's going to come through tax dollars, a government program, which means everybody.
Here's the thing: the British already paid reparations, and now they want more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Taxman.
That's how dumb it is.
Taxman's coming.
Look, anytime you have something like that incentivized, the government will always take it out of the tax dollars.
Yep.
The problem with everything in this world comes down to the fact that evil is profitable.
Yes. Yes. Perfectly stated. That's exactly what it is.
You want to have a loving wife? No, it's easy for her. It's more profitable for her to be a prostitute and a whore to the state.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I subscribe to an ideology called waifuism. Women have no rights.
California is leading the charge, and they're not even a slave state.
17th
which I find
century.
rich.
I fucking hate that state.
That state is run by gynocentrics.
Oh, yeah.
And
they've been pouring it into my home state as well. For pretty much making it more along the lines of, I don't know, Chicago.
That state was started by and maintained by criminals. It has always been a criminal empire that California was started by.
California was actually, it was founded by Mexican bandits, and then the Spanish moved in, and they created the Spanish. They're trying to say that the Spanish brought slaves with them. No, they were fleeing. The Spanish who created California were fleeing the slavers in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Then you had, what was it?
Fled to California to get away from slavery.
Then what was it? You had the gold rush in the 1840s and 50s.
And once enough people got gold, I won't say who, but they're in power now. But they went around, killed all the miners, rounded up all the gold, and then founded a foundation and they've been millionaires and billionaires ever since on stolen gold.
Criminal empire.
Mostly from there was slavery.
Yeah.
The railroad enslaved
What's up,
Indians and Chinese to build the railroad. But they
Yeah.
won't take money off the Kennys and the Morgans. They take it off you.
Now you've got criminals. Now you've got mafia and criminals running that state with what they're importing, exporting down at the docks, bringing in weapons and drugs and all that. And you've got the cartels.
Is profitable and good people won't break the law.
Then you've got cartels and whatnot having all these grow farms all over the state. Shipping and importing and exporting all that weed and whatnot.
Yeah, and they're now lacing all the weed with fentanyl because people won't take the pills.
Yeah.
So they're killing you off, and they say, "Oh no, they'd never kill their own customer." Bullshit. They make money off the replacements because the replacements cost less than you. It's all about profit. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything.
There you go.
So I'm taking MGTOW to the next step. Waifuism.
I already got some of the guys in this group that likes waifus.
Most people ignore the fact that the Spanish cavalry who went to the Americas along with Columbus weren't even Spanish, but
No, they
were
were-
Slavic Poles. They were Slavic
Actually-
Polish mercenaries because the Polish hussars at the time created all of the cavalry tactics we know of. They
Same
were
with
that
your American-
effective.
Yeah, but same with your American colonial army. Half of them were hussars as well.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
of course, the Poles had no love of Britain at the time because at the time, the Polish Confederation was a powerful nation on its own.
Yep.
Precisely that. So, guys, let's dive into some more fun topics to wind
Okay.
down the whole thing.
All right.
I mean, you all are right in everything, and but it's also refreshing to see, people standing up against these tyrants, and they should. And I've been screaming, we gotta bring these House of
We're
Cards
watching-
down,
See, the thing
because
is-
you and I and many
Yeah.
others, we've been told like, oh, you don't bring down the House of Cards, don't bring down the House of Cards, because remember, as big of a fucking idiot as that funny little mustache man is, he is right about one thing. He's right about one thing.
He was right about the bankers.
The bigger the lie, the harder it is to stop.
Mhm.
Yeah, but he was also right about the bankers.
Well, yeah, he was
bankers-
right about that too. And
Yeah.
look, we're
What
not
about the
glorifying
books
this.
that had they burned? Because those said books glorified pedophilia, bestiality, transgender porn. Yeah, most of the books that they burned were very degenerate.
Yeah. Now, they
Yep.
probably burned my books, but in my defense, I think they went too far with some of them. There were definitely the PDF stuff, absolutely. Definitely the mutilation of young boys, definitely. But I also believe in voluntarism, and that if somebody wants to pretend they're a girl, as long as they don't lie about it, I'm with the fact that, I don't care if a guy wears a
I don't
dress.
agree with it. I
But
really don't agree.
I don't agree
with it because
and
it's just nothing more but a mental illness.
Yeah, but
If
that's
they
the
want to
thing.
do, if they want to do it, then not knock themselves out,
Yeah,
but
I'm talking
but
about
leave us out of it.
Yeah, I'm talking about the line to make you, force you to say that they're a woman, to force you to have sex with them, to force you to date them. To force
Yeah,
you to
that's
like
where
them.
you draw the line with these people.
I'm talking about-
it's
yeah.
one thing. It's one thing to it's one thing to for them to say that. It's like,
Yes.
oh, okay, then
History
you're an
has
idiot,
taught
but you realize that you are an idiot.
Yes.
Go knock yourself out and everything, but leave us out of it.
Look,
And most of them have.
Most
Most of them have. They left
Yeah.
us alone and everything, and we have no problem with them.
But the thing with
They're living
most
their life.
trans-
They're living their life. We're living with ours, and that's the end of it. That's all we ask. If you
Yeah.
want to be trans and all that fun stuff, go right the fuck ahead.
But most
But
of them grow
leave
out
us
of it.
out of it.
Most of them grow out of it. Most of them get
Exactly.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Transgenderism and LGBT is political. They need
Unfortunately,
your
yes.
validity. They need the
That's what I'm
validity of
saying.
the
Back,
culture
I
to
missed
exist.
I missed the sane ones from back in the day when
That's what I'm
when they
saying.
were
I
when they
believe
were
in
fun
voluntarism.
and nice. I miss those. I miss those people. I honestly do. Because they didn't bother.
Queen was gay until they politicized it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
because-
it was always political. Look up John Money.
Yeah,
It's-
I'm just saying that there have always, history's told us there's always going to be these people, and it's best for the right to acknowledge that there are going to be these people and attack the politics of destruction of society, not the politics of gender ideology. You'll always lose that battle. You'll just fanaticize the left. You got to defanaticize the left. You got to take the teeth out. You got to say, you know what? You're a gay Republican. That's fine. But leave your sexuality out of politics. Let's deal with the fiscal responsibility side.
Mm-hmm.
The
Exactly.
problem is that they are so. The problem is that is due to one thing. Even if we do not attack those things, they're still going to label us as this and that in order to radicalize themselves. Remnant excellently pointed it out. The reason why the left demonizes us is the fact
it's-
that they do it in order to radicalize themselves into
That's
wanting
the
to
2
kill
minutes
you.
test, which is why Orwell pointed out the 2 minutes of rage. And you point out the hypocrisy and idiocy of the 2 minutes of rage and basically hold them up to a mirror, and ridicule will turn everybody into isolating them, and not because they're gay, but because they're radical idiots. And that will basically destroy their message, because they can only then destroy themselves, not others. As long as you keep pulling the teeth out of the tiger, you're fine. Remember, the Bible says you can't defeat evil, you can only fight it.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but
I-
it goes to show it goes to show that they hate us because we're living
not
our
us.
lives. We're living our lives too. I mean, MGTOW's living his life. Rexus is living his life. You,
Yeah.
me, many others. We're living our life, and we're not bothering anybody. We're having
And
fun.
I'm not telling
And that's
you
what they
the
hate.
waifu is-
They hate. They're like, oh, draw attention to me, and it's like we look at them and we're like, so anyway, about that amazing game that you were talking about. See, that's what they hate.
Yeah.
They hate we're not
Rick-
giving them attention.
Riggs, what did you say? Riggs, did you say
I am
something?
so sorry, Riggs. Go ahead, buddy. I am so sorry. Go.
I
right
thought I
ahead.
heard him say something.
Yeah,
Just
go
a
ahead, Riggs.
quick
I'm
thing.
sorry.
Sorry, Riggs. I saw you
I
go
never-
flash on and off.
I never really gave two shits about, where one decided to stick their pecker or twat or whatever you want to, whatever.
Yeah.
Until they started shoving it in our face and saying, you're a bad person because you prefer the opposite sex and blah, 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 blah. It's like, nobody cares. Get that fucking shit out of the public space and handle the problems that are at hand.
Yeah.
Where what you do behind closed doors is your fucking business. Keep it there. That's all I got for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you're dealing with political ideologies that people are using. They're using the lives of people as nothing more than weapons against the rest of people who are seeing through it. That's all this is.
Yeah.
It's LGBT, trans, feminism, Black Lives Matter, Antifa. All this shit is nothing more than a means to an end. They're merely nothing more than movements that are just tools to control people with,
break society so that
Yes.
because look at it in the 1960s, how many men owned houses? The big business says, no, we can't have this. Oh, the feminists hate family, break it up.
yes.
Somebody says the Rockefellers.
It's a direct, blatant attack on middle class. That's all this is. Because when you
Yeah.
have a
is.
look, when you have
What's
a
their biggest
society,
slur?
yes. Look,
What's
when
the
you have a
biggest slur?
when you have
the
a
biggest slur is
society,
bourgeois.
when you have a society that's middle class, that's content,
Yep.
that's got what they need, they're not buying back into the system, they're not spending money. You have